Only on 1620 The Zone. Here are Gary, Nick, and Jimmy. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Happy hump day. Hope you got your hump game on. We're going to get you humping for the next 4 days. It'd be a lot of humps.
That's a lot.
That is a,
But I like where your mind's at.
You call that a grind?
You think you'd be worn out if you humped for 4 days?
Yeah. I mean, 4 hours would be enough. 4 days?
How many calories would you burn?
Well, yeah.
That's a heck of a start to
skip the gym
Wednesday morning.
for a month.
Welcome in, everybody. Middle of the week. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley. This is day number 3 that Gary, Nick, and Jimmy have all been together. Some encouraging news for my new partner. As we reach the morning of day number 3, you are getting closer to an email address.
All right.
Yeah. Can I update everyone who's scoring at home?
Yeah, because people would like probably to email you, and they don't know where to email you. And so they just send, random emails to yours truly. Hey, can you pass this along to Nick?
Right.
So instead of forwarding, I just show you the email on the computer.
Yep. There's like that. And then, you can still tweet at me. That's always fine. But as I left the building yesterday, it was confirmed that there was an established email. And that was the more professional one. You probably have a G Sharp, there's probably a J Chavez. And then, the one that's just easier for our.
Now you have to understand, like we went a while before they gave Jimmy an email address.
How long? I'm curious.
It was about 6 weeks.
Oh, what?
Well, my thing is I couldn't access it on this computer in the studio. I can from my computer at my desk.
When did you have a physical work email? Because I know this topic is probably it's losing its steam, but this is the process, right?
I had one the first week, and then a couple weeks later, it's like, oh, we need Jimmy at 1620thezone.com because it's easier to do that, especially when we get stuff for like Ask Us Anything. And so within 2-3 weeks, I was rolling there, but in here, it's
called progress.
It is. This is progress. And I left yesterday where as we like to call in the business, the vanity account, the one that's easier for listeners. They don't have to do like what is it? Is it Nick? What is it?
Nick with an N?
Yeah. So I believe now, don't do this yet. Okay. I repeat, don't do this yet because I will not receive it, but I believe it's going to be Handley at 1620.
Does Nick Grimm, is Nick at 1620?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
So Nick is already taken.
That was taken.
You guys can arm wrestle for it.
It's fine. It's Sharp and Handley, Handley, by the way. So it just keeps it consistent, right?
If I was Nick Grimm, I would hold you hostage and ask for something in return for Nick at 1620thezone.com.
But he's going to be really disappointed. I'm like, I'll just go with the last name. Or do you think I should? Should I get in a bidding war?
Grimm's got to be forward thinking. He's got to think, okay, this is like a jersey swap. He wants my number. He wants my email address. Well, this is what I want for it.
What is the going rate?
Nick at 1620thezone.com.
Yeah, what's the going rate?
For a zone email address?
Yeah, for a vanity account.
Probably there's some liquids involved.
That's why I'm looking at,
a trip to the Formula One race in Vegas.
So now you're telling me he's a big Formula One, Formula E.
Yes, he is.
Okay. I was reading bios over the weekend.
Jam.
Nick, before our eyes, is growing into a sports fan.
That's good. So he came in as a very, very, not even a sports fan?
He came in very naive. I don't think he was all in on sports and life. But our young boy, Nick, has grown on the afternoons with John and Josh.
And now on Sundays, you find a Miami Dolphins watch bar. Nick will be pretty much the head of the table.
Wait, is he always been a Miami Dolphins fan?
Oh, he is now. He's adopted him, but he's all in.
Okay.
All in.
Because of Jalen Waddle? Or is he more Tua?
I think he's
there's
more,
another guy there that I would have probably gone first to.
Yeah, there's a really fast
Tyreek Hill. Who left the Chiefs because he didn't get enough targets. Well, he got 159 last year.
I don't think about that guy. Although he's not Mahomes. He's not the Bears, the quarterback that got away from the Bears. So I have no problem.
Why are you upset at Tyreek Hill as a Bears fan?
I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm more upset. And I'm not even upset at Patrick Mahomes. I'm upset at this is where I have to project onto the other players that the Bears failed to get.
I would be upset.
So
I'm
upset.
Front office.
Well, I am, but that's getting old.
Yeah.
I got to vent elsewhere.
Well, you got one of ours now as your GM.
I like Ryan Poles. Again, it's the exit. We were talking to Sam McCune about this yesterday. there's a plan that I see taking place there. There's a plan. I can see that it's kind of interesting to watch this year's Necessary Evil. Lose some games. It's not going to be 4 quarters of good football. It's probably going to, you're going to see some Justin Fields moments, a defense that is extremely young. I see what they're trying to do, but then there's that Bears just overall jaded feeling of, okay, can they execute what they're attempting to do? They're getting everything in motion, but with the draft capital that they're building, with the salary cap space they're going to have, can they make the right decisions? Because right now I'd say, no, the hell no, they won't, because of the Bears. That's where I am. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fine. We're the number 2 seed right now in the AFC.
Yeah, that's cool.
On the double-figure favorite at Houston.
You live a charmed life.
Gary lives the most charmed life
as long as 15 and 87 are together. The charm life is pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. Kelsey's got it. He's getting bored, isn't he? He's got one like the LA market or the Miami market. Kansas City, come on.
He does live his best life.
I know he does.
You can't do a Hy-Vee commercial in LA.
That's true. And he wears it too.
It doesn't matter. If you're winning in the NFL, it doesn't matter what market you're in.
That's true. Kansas City's
Aaron Rodgers is in the smallest market in the NFL.
I don't know if we have a cutout segment that we can get into just the trials and tribulations of Aaron Rodgers in the last year and a half. I mean, is it? Can we just point to Shailene Woodley and say, what the hell did you do to him?
Well, you probably go back a little bit further than that. What did he do to Olivia Munn?
Well,
which I hold against him. If I ever see Aaron in person, I'm going to have some speaks because Olivia is my gal. But she appears to have rebounded pretty quick. Well, she get remarried. She has a child, I believe.
Especially this time of the year. She's in that, what the hell, the office Christmas party, whatever. Pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
No, she's sexy. She is. But the Shailene Woodley thing, you've seen, obviously, Dazed and Confused. One of my favorite movies. Somehow Aaron Rodgers has turned into Slater. He just has. And I think Shane, I'm just trying to find the common denominator. Like, get you later. Like, that's Aaron Rodgers now. He just happy-go-lucky. It kind of reminds me of Serrano in Major League 2. Pops up. Oh, well.
I'll be back next year with the Packers.
Ooh, it's a quick.
I hope he is. And I never thought I would say that as a Bears fan, but I hope he is.
I got 59 million reasons to come back to the Packers.
Everybody thinks he's on his
Jordan
way.
Love wants to trade.
Yep. Well, now everybody thinks they need to trade Aaron Rodgers. He is banged up. He's a bit banged up. And his wide receiving core has been, Alan Lazard is your go-to guy. That's all I need to say.
Christian Watson.
Well, now he's getting better. But early on, Watson, you couldn't trust any of them. Couldn't trust Samori, one of the best transfer portal guys ever. That wasn't hyperbole.
Welcome in, everybody, to Bears and Packer Talk on a Wednesday morning.
Right. On a radio got your station Chiefs in there. Come on.
I didn't say anything about the Chiefs. I didn't bring them. I get knocked all the time for bringing up the Chiefs, so I don't.
Why?
I just pick and choose my spots.
No, that's fine.
People think that's all I talk about.
I think you can gloat right now.
That time of the year, I'm talking about the Chiefs.
You gloat. I'll just commiserate over the Bears. Okay.
I'm not gloating. I'm just sitting back and I'm going to watch this year play out.
Yeah.
We had some issues.
Your cozy, charmed life.
Yeah. And I wait for the annual Cowboys playoff choke. How will it be this year?
That's always fun.
Josh Peterson talked about his sad meal when it happens. And I thought, I don't have a sad meal because I expect it. I was like, well, that's a new one. Time to move on with my night.
They intrigue me. They do. But anyway.
All right. Overnight, as we kick off the show, I'm always a big fan of people that bet on themselves. I think at some point in our life, we all bet on ourselves. Like whether you take a job here, whether you take a job somewhere, you leave a job you've been for a while. Just at some point, we all bet on ourselves. And a guy that had bet on himself in 2021. Now, where I'm going here, we're not in the same stratosphere in terms of the money. But when you're offered a 5-year, $160 million deal, I'm going to take myself out of the story because that was not an offer from here. But when you're offered 5 years, $160 million, and you say, no, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself. I'm like, good on you. Good on you. You bet on yourself. Now, sometimes it always doesn't work out. Sometimes it goes down in flames. Other times it takes off. But the guy that bet on himself when he was offered by his current employer a 5-year, $160 million deal has turned that into a 14-year deal, $395 million. Last night, another blockbuster. Major League Baseball is full of cash. And especially if you're playing shortstop, mamas out there and papas, make sure that your son is growing up to be a shortstop.
I heard this and thought of you.
Because the shortstops are getting paid this offseason, whether it be Bogarts, whether it be Turner, and now Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa last night signs a 13-year, $350 million deal with the San Francisco Giants. At the age of 28, I am so glad for Correa, on the one hand, that he bet on himself, and also now he's going to be able to afford a home in San Francisco.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's true.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's an excellent point, by the way.
But here is a guy that there's a couple of different things about him signing in the offseason for Major League Baseball. Carlos Correa is 28 years old, and there is no doubt he is one of the best players in baseball. And he's even better in the postseason. He didn't go to the postseason last year. You know what he did with the Houston Astros? Mm-hmm. So he bets on himself, takes a one-year deal at Minnesota. The Twins went all in on Correa. Okay, and for the most part, he had a really good year last year. I think because people were doubting, why would you – because Minnesota has this issue of why would big-name free agents come to Minnesota? It's going to be cold in April. It's going to be cold in September. Mm-hmm. You know, you play for a really good organization. You play at Target Field. But why would a high-priced free agent ever go to Minnesota? So Minnesota, they pulled off a coup last year. But they did it with 1 year, and they had 1 year to convince Carlos Correa to stay. And he had a really good year and fit in well. He was active in the Twin Cities. Minnesota fans loved him. He bonded with Byron Buxton, and then he becomes a free agent. So it's smart to test the market. And Minnesota made a heck of a play for him. I mean, Minnesota did things that normally Minnesota doesn't do with free agents and the type of money. But at the end of the day, Carlos Correa is in the Bay Area, and that is a huge signing that is great for baseball from this standpoint. One, I like guys that bet on themselves. He's one of the best players. San Francisco is all in. There's only been two guys in the history of baseball that have been offered 13-year deals.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper and Carlos Correa. The Giants weren't on both of them. You know, 2 years ago, the Giants won 107 games. Then last year they fell back. They were 500. But you're in the division that has the behemoth of the Dodgers. You see what San Diego is doing. And Carlos Correa is added to San Francisco after they missed on Judge. And they added a piece, a pretty important piece, to build around because now he'll be the face of the franchise. You know, his contract will expire when he's 41 years old. And I mean, just like Trey Turner at the back end of the contract, it could get a little dicey. But I love the deal. I love the pickup for the Giants. I feel bad for the Twins because the Twins went all in, and now their options may be a little bit limited. And it may say, okay, well, free agents, are you really going to go to Minnesota?
Right.
But the other part of Correa signing last night that I love as a baseball fan that has no rooting interest in this, it adds to the rivalry. Can you imagine now what it's going to be like when Correa, playing for the Giants, goes to Dodger Stadium?
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. You already know that the Dodgers hate the Astros after what happened in the World Series and the cheating. And now Correa is on your chief rival.
Right.
Sign me up for every time that the Giants play at Dodger Stadium to be in the crowd.
Well, and think about some of the deals in that division. You know, you mentioned shortstop with Fernando Tatis with San Diego. What is that? 340? I think 340 million.
Yeah, just 340.
Yeah, modest. You've got the Mookie Betts deal was obviously very large. And now you've got this deal with the Giants. And look, it's when you think of the West Coast and you think of that market, you think of big stars. And I've always been interested in the Padres, what they're trying to do. They throw a lot of money at some areas of need on that roster. I'd like to think it's starting to finally pay off. There was a time that it was not. The Dodgers, they've kind of figured out a way to get not only using the money. It's kind of like the old Yankees back when, you know, Big George was there. You know, just throw money at the problem. We're going to build some stuff. I feel like they're realizing, hey, it's probably more responsible spending. They can spend, though. They can outspend you, but it's more responsible spending. And then if you look at the Giants, and again, another market, and you're right about the 350 because that is going to be a sizable amount of that is going to go into a home there because it is. I was just in San Francisco for the first time ever about a month, 2 months ago. Yeah, it's good food.
Did you step over a homeless person?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I got off the airplane, I did.
I like San Francisco, but they've got a major homeless problem.
Yeah, they really do. I mean,
a lot of places in this country do, but San Francisco, I mean, you have to step over people to go to a tourist destination.
Fisherman's Wharf. Yeah,
and they're aggressive. They're aggressive panhandlers. And
some are definitely encountered a few.
So I mean, good. Correa will be able to afford a townhome.
He will. But yeah, I mean, like I'm always, even though he's no longer with Cleveland anymore, will always be a Frankie Lindor one, and that sort of, set the market right there at shortstop a couple of years ago with the Mets. And like, I'm not going to sit there and say, Frankie's still better than Carlos Correa. Like my heart wants to tell me that, but Carlos Correa is a hell of a player.
Carlos Correa
best shortstop in the game right now.
Player.
Yes, but you're right. If you are, and I think it's a great PSA right now for all you parents out there. You've got a youngster playing the game. We always used to say, be a tall lefty. Be a tall lefty and just get yourself on the mound. Stay on the mound. Earn yourself and mommy and daddy some money. Now, be that more stout shortstop.
You know who, besides Carlos Correa, is a winner in this? And the money that's being thrown around in Major League Baseball is insane.
The Giants.
The next owner that says, I'm cash strapped, shut your face. Okay. You may not be playing the free agent game this offseason, but there's a lot of money in Major League Baseball. But the other big winner out of this, Dansby Swanson.
Yeah.
Dansby Swanson, who is the next, he's really the only shortstop that's left because Turner, Bogarts, and Correa, the big free agent shortstops, are off the board. And Dansby Swanson, probably not going to go back to Atlanta. I'm not going to insert my team into this conversation until I see what the Cubs do, because the Cubs have dabbled with Correa. Yeah. They missed on Correa. Basically, they were not to the finish line with Correa. It was the Twins and the Giants. But they have been, I guess, actively involved with Dansby Swanson. But look at his market value. So Boston needs a shortstop. The Dodgers need a shortstop. The Twins need a shortstop. The Cardinals need a shortstop. The Cubs need a shortstop. The Braves may want their shortstop back, even though it looks like he won't be going back to Atlanta. Even though if I look at Atlanta's roster, I'm like, or looking at their current roster, I'm thinking, that's a World Series team again.
Yeah,
a team that's built for the World Series. So congratulations, Dansby Swanson. Carlos Correa just got you paid. You're going to get paid. But a blockbuster. I love the offseason of Major League Baseball. I mean, we've had mega deals. I mean, the money, the 300 plus is being thrown around is crazy. But this all sets up.
It's no big deal now.
It's other people's money, so we wouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's monopoly money.
Unless it affects us. Unless our, we don't care about other people's money until our ticket prices go up or our MUD rates go up, and we wonder, okay, I didn't have a vote on the streetcar. Okay, sorry there, I just inserted a little localism into a Carlos Correa story.
Your buddy was here yesterday after.
Yeah,
who was?
Yeah,
the mayor.
She was here.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did she ask about me?
No, she was talking to Neil, but
Neil
said she was on Neil's show.
Yeah.
Neil said he couldn't stump her. I don't know what the questions were, but he couldn't stump her, he said.
Oh, she's really good on the radio.
Yeah. Said she's sharp.
But she didn't ask about me?
Well, you'd have to ask Neil. We didn't we were not privy to the conversation. We were just sort of outside the booth and saw that she was in there. And then when she left, and I know she wished Neil all the best. And then Neil's like, well, you can't stump her.
Like, of all the days, Gary had a nooner.
Yeah, sorry, man.
She's really good. She's really good on the radio.
I'm assuming she probably asked about you and knew that you were over at Baxter.
She didn't stop by.
Well, she probably had another appointment. Now, if the game was later in the evening, I'm sure that's where the mayor would have ended her night. Yeah. Watching UNO in Midland.
Maybe we'll go to a Cardinal Cub game this year.
There you go. She a Cardinal fan?
Spends a lot of time in St. Louis.
No. Okay.
I knew that's where that was going.
Neil, in his long career, look at all the mayors of Omaha that he's interviewed.
I mean, I want to somehow pivot this conversation back.
No, I got one more question about the mayor, since you guys were here.
I'm sorry. I should have texted you. I'm really sorry. I didn't know that this is going to get at you for a couple hours, isn't it?
You'll learn quickly.
We've never communicated in person, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, then why is this getting?
We've only communicated through third parties, and all it was we wanted to take her to lunch.
Oh yeah. Where are you going to take her? Did you have a plan?
Well, somewhere in Omaha.
Well, I
gotta stay local. I can't take the mayor of Omaha to Millard.
Go to Goldberg's.
Go to the Roadhouse or something. Rest in peace.
Yeah, thank you. Give it respect.
How many people were with her?
One.
Okay. Yeah,
no, take it back. No, two. Yeah, there was a photographer.
There was one in studio. Then there was somebody waiting in the lobby as well. Yeah. So, there was I wouldn't go as far as an entourage, but a small party.
Okay, so she probably had her communications director with her, and then a photog.
Yeah.
Okay. One
modest travel party.
One more person than Don Bacon brought when he came here to be interviewed by yours truly.
That's true. He had one.
Yeah, and he was basically just going to come in by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. At like 6 a.m.?
No, you weren't here. So when Neil was away, I had to fill in doing his show. Like his, I don't know, what do you call it?
Issues and answers.
Issues and answers.
Okay.
And so it was a late, can anyone interview Senator Bacon?
Okay.
Late as in he came in and he was doing prep while trying to do a show.
Well, I didn't raise my hand, but I like politics.
Okay.
So I said, yeah, I'll do it. And so me and the senator went on News Talk 1290 Coil into a 30-minute interview right before the election because he had Tony Vargas on earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
And the race against each other.
Yeah. Equal airtime.
So Don Bacon and yours truly basically talked about nothing that had to do with politics. Like I asked just off-the-wall questions.
Can you give me an example?
Like what's your office look like in D.C.? And how did that all play out when you were bidding for your office space?
See, that's what the people want.
See, that's the stuff I'd want.
I would. I'm serious. I would.
We talked the normal political stuff, but
that
gets redundant.
I mean, my depth on that, I'm better on asking the oddball question.
Yeah, that's redundant. We don't need that.
Like we spent like 10 minutes talking about his commercials because I want to know, are you a one-take guy? Do you really cook your own bacon? Have you ever been to a grocery store? Do you push your own cart in a grocery store?
Have you ever been to a grocery? I'd like to say.
Well, it's a fair question. Some people, like if you're voting for somebody, they're like, oh, yeah, I'd like to know if the person I'm voting for is one of us. You'll find them at Saturday morning at 7 a.m. in Hy-Vee.
Getting some donuts or some bacon.
Yeah. So that's, I'm going to miss the man.
Can I find this? Can we tweet out the link?
I have no idea where it's at.
I don't even know if it aired.
Oh, well.
We were in a little bit of a transition over there on that radio station.
It aired in all of our hearts.
Yes.
No, real quickly.
Looking at how the vote went, I wouldn't say that specifically.
Real quickly on the going back to the Correa deal. Were you surprised that fetched more than Aaron Judge? Because if you would have told me at the beginning, and I get it, different positions and whatnot. But if you asked me at the beginning, who gets a higher, just at the end of it, the full amount, who would get the higher deal? I would have probably leaned towards Aaron Judge.
Yeah, but San Francisco wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
So they were going to ramp up the price to play the game because they wanted somebody. I mean, that was pretty clear. They wanted to make a splash. They had to make a splash. You got the Dodgers and the Padres in your own division. And you won 107 games and you didn't make the World Series 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
But all of this sets up all the money that's being spent in Major League Baseball. It sets up for the Ohtani. What happens with him? Is he traded? Or if he is out there as a free agent, is he the first $50 million guy?
Yep.
Right.
That's next year.
Well, and I get a Judge annually too. It's a 9-year as opposed to a 13. Judge comes in at 10 million more, but it was a lot closer than I thought.
It's a great move for the Giants.
It is.
He's 28 years old. He's one of the best players in baseball, and he's even better when you get to the postseason for the most part.
Yeah. Big time performer.
All right, a little bit later, it is our NFL Wednesday. Scott Shanley will join us in his normal spot coming up at 9. Brandon Vogel from Hale Varsity at 9:40. The lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. Last night, Trev Alberts got on the radio, had a lot to say in his monthly appearance about Matt Rule, the future of Nebraska football, and most importantly for fans, he is discussing plans for the East Balcony seating that we will dive into. And Memorial Stadium about to celebrate their 100th anniversary. Season ticket prices have been dropped in a year where the home schedule is a little outside of Michigan and Iowa, but it's going to drop by $100. I don't know if that makes a big deal to people. Probably to some. But I wondered. I always wonder this. You heard the stories at Dion U when he was hired. How many people all of a sudden bought season tickets to go watch the Buffs play? What they're about to find out is there's going to be a lot of Nebraska fans that are going to buy season tickets to Dion U this year, just so they can have one game and they'll sell the rest. So they got one of the bounces for hiring a splash.
Mm-hmm.
When they hire Dion to come run Dion U, then they get people that are like, I'm back. I'm going to buy tickets because I want to be a part of it. I want to be on the ground floor.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and in terms of the sexy, sizzle hire, where everybody goes, oh my God, there he is. Matt Rule was not that case at Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska, their approach to hiring was different than Colorado's approach to hiring. Yeah. But I wonder how many people, since it was officially announced a couple of weeks ago, because you want this bounce with anything you announce, and you're in the ticket business, is how many people said, okay, I drifted away over the last 5-15 years. Matt Rule, I like it. I went and bought season tickets. Wonder how many people did that. I mean, that might be too early to tell because people are, and people rightfully so around here in wait and see mode.
Mm-hmm.
But this is an interesting move by Trev to do what he's going to do to turn the East Balcony into club seating.
Mm-hmm.
The price goes up. People have to make a decision. But on the other end, you drop the season ticket price in the 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium by $100. Interesting, the pieces that are being moved around here. But I wonder how many people said, you know what? I'm back. I'm going to buy season tickets. I feel good about the future. There's an adult in the room. Put me down for $4.
Yeah. The $100 isn't nothing. It isn't. Now, did you hear the Colorado thing? There was a little, I think, misinformation that they were not going to prioritize anybody with a Nebraska address. But that has since, from what I understand.
What if there's loyal Buff fans in Nebraska?
We're sharing borders, From what I understand, that they do, that is not true.
So there's some people that are angry that want to go to the game because all of a sudden you're going to have these looky-loos that want to be there for the first game of Dion U that may never come back again.
Right.
So they're going to take the ticket. The Nebraska fan probably would have paid pretty good money to be in the stadium. People will buy season tickets from here. And I would I would advise you to buy season tickets, use the Nebraska game, and sell the rest.
And then you dump them, yeah.
And that's what happened when Nebraska was there in, 2019?
2019, yeah. It was insane.
There were a lot of people because if I remember correctly, in 2019, the Colorado home schedule was pretty good. I think USC was on it that year. And so you could buy the season ticket and then hope that you could at least break even by selling back the other games to people, put it on a secondary market or whatever. But
this year could be good.
There will be people that will go that route, and that's the way to go.
Yeah. Dion, like Mel Tucker, trying to encourage, or at least he's fronting that they will not. They're going to keep
Dion U is in the news because Malachi Coleman is going to visit there this weekend.
Yeah,
we will discuss a little bit later. All right, that is the lineup off and running. It's recruiting. There are some subtractions yesterday from Nebraska's football roster that we will get into. And an addition in the Big Ten that the more I dive into it, I really, really like what happened in West Lafayette yesterday. You can always join Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone at 951-1620. That's the access code to get in via the phone. Also into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com. It is day 3. Nick does not have an email address working yet, and he doesn't want to give out his private address.
Well, no.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, that's where you send the junk mail. That's why I have an AOL address. Yeah. Why do you guys laugh?
Does it still say, you've got mail?
Yes, it does.
Does it really? Okay, now that's cool.
Yeah,
I might just get one.
When you log on. Now,
retro is
I don't log on to it very often, but it's kind of a dummy email address where a lot of stuff is dumped into.
Yeah.
It's not my primary one, but yeah, it still says you got mail.
I have a Hotmail like that. I get it.
Hey, I held out because like towards the tail end of AOL, when it was popular, they were charging people per month.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I've had that email address. That was my first email address, and I still have it.
Wow.
I just don't give it. I give it out. Like when people bug you for your email address.
Do you still have a .edu one?
No.
Okay. Well, you're all right then.
I do not.
MySpace page?
I don't have a MySpace page. I don't have a Facebook page. But I'm a lurker on Facebook.
You're a lurker.
Well, someone created a Facebook page for me, and the only reason I know this is because they put down the birthday as when they created it. It's actually when I first started here.
Okay.
And so all of a sudden I will get these messages in August of happy birthday. And it took me a while to figure out, okay, these are some people I don't know are wishing me a happy birthday in August. And that might be confused for somebody. And then I saw it was on Facebook, and I was like, okay, I didn't know I had a Facebook account. So I looked at it, and it says my birthday is like August 6th.
I think that's grounds for cake at work, at least.
Or keeping you around for free Popcorn Friday?
Yeah.
Or is it just called Popcorn Friday?
It's Popcorn Friday.
This point in my
Free,
life,
freezing. It's
this
already
point in my life,
insinuated.
it's just another day.
Just another day.
Yeah, when you get to this point, you're just another day.
Yeah, another trip around the sun, buddy.
So Nick doesn't have an email address. So if you want to communicate with Nick, you can send it to me. And I will
He'll show me.
And I will not forward it, but I will just pick up my computer and show it to you.
Hey, look at this. All right, thanks.
We're also on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620, at Nick Handley 1620. Is that what we decided on? Okay.
Yeah, at Nick Handley 1620.
All right. Those are the ways to get in touch with the show throughout our 4 hours.
By the way,
and the entire day.
Jay wants to know if you have OnlyFans. The OnlyFans page. No?
No, but I know how. There's someone locally. Okay, so this story has been. I do not know this person, so do not even read into this. There's someone locally who has a OnlyFans page, and I heard how much she makes a month, and I'm like,
make your head explode.
Do I want to go get in shape enough to make that kind of cheddar?
Hey, it's good work if you can find
I guess if you put good content up, you can make a lot of money.
Sure. Good content.
Tough times. You gotta make a buck.
Hey, you know what?
Nothing wrong with it.
However people want to make money. As
I'm
long
glad
as it's legal. I mean, we all out there. We're all hustling.
We kicked off the show this week talking about something I did about 20 years ago.
Exactly.
DJing at a club.
Hey man. You gotta survive day by day.
That's right.
We get better and better. That is quite the opening. That'll be on the best of that week before,
Absolutely.
week between Christmas and New Year's. You're like, what is this show? Basically, the crossover just happened in the first 30 minutes of Sharp and Handley in the morning.
Well done.
All right, and this is probably an interesting way to finish this first segment. Here is Donnie. Hey, good morning, Donnie.
Gary, happy birthday, by the way.
Hey, thank you.
And welcome to Omaha, Gene. I just want to say welcome to Nick in the vapid expanse that is the radio business in the city of Omaha. To see 1620 pull off the Carlos Carrera trade of Omaha morning radio hosts is amazing. It's kind of like, and I might lose some of the younger listeners with this reference, but it's kind of like when Tootie showed up on Different Strokes. It's like, oh my God, it's my two favorite shows together at one time. So you guys are now that very special episode of Different Strokes for me every morning, and I look forward to it. So the two, so far as of right now, you two are the best morning show in all of Omaha that only talks. I can't even think of any other decent morning shows in Omaha that just talk in the morning. So congratulations, and I look forward to hearing more from you guys.
Hey, thanks, Donnie. Thank you.
Tootie and Different Strokes. You know what's
I knew something good was coming when he started it.
I know exactly what he's talking about. I remember that one when all of a sudden Tootie from Facts of Life, there she is on Different Strokes. What the hell? How'd that happen?
It was a crossover.
But she was only on Different Strokes for like 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah. Because what was she like with Willis? Was that what was going on? She was like Willis's girlfriend or something, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. My mind only remembers what it wants to at times.
And then she went on to star in Living Single.
I remember Living Single.
That's right. Yeah.
No longer has braces.
Yeah, that's good. I'd hope not. Hope not.
Well, there are adults that have braces.
Yeah. But I mean, she had them for so long.
She'd be going on about 40
How many
years
adults?
by now.
How many adults are called Tootie?
I mean, it might be a nickname.
I bet somebody has a grandma. Long time.
Grandma Tootie?
This feels like something someone you would run into in the South.
Yes. 100%.
And your grandma has, and that might not be her legal name, but everybody has always, when she was growing up, they called her Tootie.
Yeah.
And she's always been Grandma Tootie. All right, 40 past the hour. Scott Shanley, Brandon Vogel coming up a little bit later.
Sorry.
I mean, should we just steal it from the afternoon show and just wish everyone a happy new year right now? Because this will be heard again.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Around like December 28th or
Happy New Year.
29th. So, happy new year, everybody.
Should be an in-depth story on all of the characters and what happened to them on Different Strokes.
Yes.
Not all of them are with us anymore.
No. Obviously, Mr. Drummond is not.
Gary Coleman is no longer with us.
Yep. Todd Bridges, I believe, is.
He
is.
had some
He was
issues.
on Celebrity Big Brother.
They all kind of had some issues.
Yeah.
Dana Plato had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
Well, she got arrested for robbing a video store. And then I believe she had a
bad drug problem.
Yes, she had an accidental overdose of a prescription painkiller. I think she was found in a trailer in Oklahoma. That's how she died. But it was. Remember the whole.
That sounds
the
right.
whole thing of we went through that phase of young actors and how their lives were never the same.
Mm-hmm.
That was like Different Strokes.
I remember that people.
Yeah, almost that entire cast. Yeah,
great show though.
It was a great show.
Donnie, good. Donnie has inserted Tootie into the conversation today. We're going to check a lot of boxes on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
Connie Mack only won 9 pennants in his 55 years as a manager. What a bum.
Could you imagine sports radio in the time of Connie Mack? Boy, I tell you, this Connie Mack guy just can't get it done. Can't win the big one. Can't get over the hump. Only 5 World Series. Connie Mack, more like Connie Hack. Am I right?
That's exactly how they talked.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Getting chilly Wednesday. Expect cloudy and breezy conditions throughout the day. Southwest winds will gust 20 to 25 miles per hour. There's a chance for a few late afternoon and evening flurries with highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From LeBurton, AC, heating, plumbing, and more. Time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can't expect a bit of slowdown near 90th and L. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for just a little bit of a delay from Richland Drive all the way to 90th. And on Dodge, it looks like you can expect just a tad bit of slowdown near 77th Street. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC, heating, plumbing, and more.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Right now, we'll open your drain line for only $93 or it's free. Call for details or request service at justcallburton.com.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Thank you to everyone who voted for MD West One in the Best of Omaha contest. We are thrilled to announce MD West One has been named the #1 private medical practice in Omaha for 4 years in a row. MD West One is also named first place in the orthopedic surgery and neurosurgical spine surgery. Our 34 board certified surgeons specialize in treating every bone, joint, or muscle condition from head to toe. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the #1 place to go for orthopedic, neurosurgery, and spine.
If the COVID pandemic should have taught us anything, it's that the worst estate planning anyone can do is do nothing. Write this number down, 402-397-5880. That's the number to the law office of Christian R. Blunt. Chris Blunt can walk you through the creation of your own estate plans that include power of medical attorney, living will, joint living trust, and more. Your initial consultation is always free. Call the law office of Christian R. Blunt at 402-397-5880.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your new home for Omaha Maverick hockey all season long. Don't miss a single puck drop, power play, barn burner, or any of the action this season. Your home for Maverick hockey, home and away, is News Talk 1290 Coil.
Dashing through the crowds to my Verizon store. Gonna shop phones, tablets, smartwatches, and more. There's something for everyone on my holiday list. It's the only place to go right now for all those techie gifts.
Head over to your Verizon store now and get a free 5G phone with select trade-in and select 5G unlimited plans. And another gift, like a tablet, smartwatch, and earbuds. All on Verizon.
this offer won't last long, so I'm going there right now. Verizon has the gifts to make my family say wow.
'Tis the season to switch to Verizon. Get to your local Verizon store now. The network America relies on. Verizon.
A service plan is required for gifts. 5G phone up to $999.99 device payment purchase or full retail purchase with newer upgrade smartphone line required. Less up to $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for offer details.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried New Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Nick, you've only been here 3 days. You just screwed up our stream. So on 1620 The Zone TV, by mentioning OnlyFans.
Oh, no.
You know how in this weird world that
I just
you'll say something or you'll look at something and the next thing you know you're getting ads for it.
Okay.
Yeah, the social platforms do a little bit of eavesdropping.
Yep.
You brought up OnlyFans.
We got one.
And,
well, JD did, and I just relayed it to you.
And the next thing you know, we're being propositioned by Girls for Y'alls.
Good morning, girls. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, appreciate it. Become a P1.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job, Jimmy. Jimmy's in charge of, he is the police officer on the stream.
You sent me that text yesterday. I thought you were joking at first, and then I read it. I was like, oh, no, you're being serious.
No, because anytime you bring up,
make me laugh.
You bring up something,
Yeah, it just catches it.
Yes, and all of a sudden you get spammed. And Girls for Y'alls is watching us in the morning.
Omaha.
Hey, we got
prospecting.
We
branch out.
Audience. Yes.
We branch out.
Hey, Trev Alberts last night was on the radio for his monthly appearance, and it usually is good stuff. You know, I think Bill Byrne, and I'm going to be biased because I hosted that show, and he was the first first athletic director to host the show, even though it would have been great if Devaney had one. It would have been spectacular radio. It would be even better if Devaney was hosting a radio show now, but that's beside the point. So Bill Byrne was the first athletic director to do a show here, and it was always informative, and we never screened calls, and he loved talking to the fans. But Bill was a people person. He'd be the guy that would walk through the parking lots, and he knew everybody's name. But he loved that show, and it was very informative for the fans, and he felt like he had access. And then Nebraska went through stretches of athletic directors that, I mean, the first time, and I got taken off the show when Steve Peterson was the athletic director. I did the first show, never did it again, by the way, because he goes, well, what's the format? And I said, it's a regular talk show. I mean, fans want to ask you questions. They're probably going to ask you more of, hey, there's something wrong with my seat. Can I get better parking?
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things. They're not debating on, you know, how the football team is doing or anything like that. And he was like, we could change that. So, boom, I was out. I sat in the green room when he would come into KLIN. It was long story. But then,
what did he want it to be?
He wanted it to be because it kind of, Sean Eichhorst did the same thing. As a promotion of the athletic department, you'd bring athletes on, and less athletic director, more somebody else, so they didn't have to sit in the hot seat.
Deflecting. Yeah.
So Trevor's really good on the radio, and you know this. He's a media guy, so he's very, very smooth. So he has turned that show back into what it should be. I mean, it's access to the fans.
Yeah.
And you give them information, and you give them stuff that they're probably not going to get elsewhere. And that's kind of what Trev has done. He said a couple of things last night, and there's a deeper dive into what he really announced, that for some that heard what they're doing to the East Balcony was new to them last night, that heard it on the radio, that sit in the East Balcony. That's not a good thing. We're going to get into that because I got emails in the Equitable Bank inbox about, okay, I like this idea, but why am I hearing about this for the first time on a radio show? that's another discussion in the next hour. But he said something last night, and I think this is Matt Rule has kind of said it, but hasn't gone there because I don't know, as a football coach, you could say it openly, even though it's pretty much assumed that this is a heavy lift. That I do give credit to the honesty of Trev last night, saying, and he might have been, this is in his sales pitch to the trio of candidates that he was deep into negotiations with, is, hey, it's ugly here. It's not the greatest situation here, whether it be where we've been or what the roster looks like or the holes that we have, the warts that we have, that it's ugly. It's not just, hey, we're Nebraska and we've got a loyal fan base that sells out the stadium and they're going to support you. Come on in. And he sold that. And I think his another part of all the connections between him and Matt Rule, I think Matt Rule likes honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And I do give credit to Trev for admitting out loud, because we've run away from it for a long time around here, that the Nebraska football program is in trouble. Oh, it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's Nebraska. They're going to turn it around.
You take the entire environment for granted.
And then it just keeps building up year after year, and you get deeper and deeper.
It'll be fine.
So I appreciate that he said it's ugly. There's part of this job that is ugly. And you can see when you say that, when you're negotiating with somebody, you turn around and you say, here's 8 years. I think when Bill Moose gave the 7-year deal to Frost, they didn't say, hey, this is going to be a long ramp up. It was, hey, you're going to be here for a while. Mm-hmm. Let's do 7 years, $35 million. Mm-hmm. I think when Trev gave an 8-year deal to Matt Rule, he said, this is going to take a bit.
Yeah.
And so there's no, hey, you got a short-term contract, got to get it done quick. If I'm saying it's ugly, I'm going to make sure that we're not putting your feet to the fire and I get off scot-free. I say it's ugly. Let's do 8 years. So I'm glad that he has said that, because I think more people need to say out loud that are involved in the program, it's not good. Instead of, oh, we're fine. We're Nebraska. Next year we're going to turn this around. We're close.
I could
just say it's ugly. Ugly. It's going to be a lift, because now as you look at departures and what may or may not be coming as additions, brace yourself. Next year is going to be the heavy lifting,
the necessary evil.
Yeah, and no one's hiding it, and that's the good thing. No one is trying to blow smoke and say, you know what? This is a 6, 7, 8 win team.
Right.
They're looking at it and going, okay, might look better, be more competitive, but in terms of W's, 23 may be but I might sacrifice 23 for, man, I know what I'm going to get in 24, 25, and beyond. If you are in that camp.
I'm going to say this about Bill Moose, just because I've always felt like he was the Scott Frost cheerleader, which he was. Okay, let's be real about that. But had he said something similar to what you're talking about with Trev in that introductory press conference or in the days after, like, hey, this thing is going to take a little bit while to build up. This is why we did invest, 7 years into Scott. He could have very well said that, and it would have went over most of our heads because of the elation that the fan base had with the hiring of Scott Frost. That was the it guy, not only nationally, but more importantly to the state of Nebraska. So had Bill Moose even gave you any type of like immediate doomsday scenario that next year could be rough, not that they could have ever seen what was going to happen during his tenure, I don't know if any of us would have even gravitated that, or even like, did Bill Moose even say that? No, he didn't. Well, maybe he did, but I'm just so damn excited that Scott Frost is back. Like, I feel like I want to give Bill Moose at least that. He might have said something that at least insinuated that. I don't think any of us would have heard that.
By the way, he did kind of, as after the first year of what he always do is Big Ten media availability.
Yeah.
Big Ten Media Day availability. And he said 6 wins.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
people went,
oh, there's a number now.
If you would have said that in December of 17, I might have been approached a little bit differently. So I also think Trev has more skin in the game than Bill Moose did.
No doubt.
I mean, I think Trev makes the hire and is going to follow through. Bill made a hire and never really followed through.
Right. There was the accountability.
he was told to come here, hire Frost.
Yeah.
He hired Frost, and then, he could
just support him,
do whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Where Trev made the hire, and it was nobody saying, "Hey, you got to hire Matt Rule." I can't imagine anybody was going, "Hey, Matt Rule's the guy you got to go get." Trev said, "Matt Rule's the guy I got to go get."
Right.
That he has more skin in the game, that he makes the hire and then follows through with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if Matt Rule doesn't turn out, that's on Trev's resume, and he's got to live with it. But if you're going to make a hire of somebody, you've got to invest in them. Okay, not just make the hire and walk away and say, "Hey, now you do what you got to do." You make the hire and then you invest in them, and we'll see what the result of that is with Trev saying, "Okay, I hired you, and now I'm going to help you," or "I hired you, go do it."
Right.
That what will be the result of that. So I think you can say that when you are fully invested in your hire and you're going to be right there with them. You're going to dive deep into it with them.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, "It's ugly. It's ugly." And you don't set them up for, you set them up if they go to a bowl game next year, you're like, "Okay, yeah. It's ugly, but geez, look at Matt Rule."
Right. No, there's upside to that. And I think you're even hearing the messaging in more of a positive way from even the head coach. And I think that's what we didn't hear between Bill and Scott. Scott sometimes would hint to it, but remember there was the whole get us now, get your shots in now because we're coming, a lot of that. So it was always kind of like, yeah, this might take a while, but then all of a sudden you're just pumping everything up. This, just from what we've heard over the last month, it's been about a month, yeah, right, since the hire. It's been a little more aligned from what the AD is saying and the head coach are saying. And I think that is good for managing expectations because it needs to happen right now.
Well, you have a plan and then you execute it. Now, you can't do anything until you play on August 31st. But if you have a plan and some of the stuff, if you go back and they're a long way down the road before convincing anybody that, okay, this is moving forward, they have to play a game. Is if you go back on that Monday of his press conference and the stuff that he said that he wants to do, even in the short term, like even a couple of weeks after that Monday press conference, he has kind of executed some of the philosophies that they're doing when it comes to recruiting. And that's the only thing they can control right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't control the on-field stuff because you haven't been on field yet.
Right.
Okay. But you can control the recruiting, whether it be fleecing your roster or adding to your roster.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got a blueprint. And I think from the standpoint of recruiting of what they're looking for and their area of need, you can say, okay, I see this. But I think when you make a hire, you invest in it as an athletic director instead of making a hire and then kind of walking away. And you don't need to be an overseer because Trev hired an adult. Okay. And I think there are people that are being hired on Matt Rule's staff that will hold him accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For failures, whether it be wins or losses or just stuff that goes on day to day and vice versa.
Yeah.
Where you, again, athletic director, you make a hire, the hire that everybody said you should. So you got that, but then you walked away. And Trev could probably walk away, but I appreciate an athletic director that's not just going to hang somebody out to dry.
Yeah.
Okay, you went through the whole process to get somebody, support them physically, verbally, all of that kind of stuff, but also be honest and let everybody know that, hey, spend that extra money to sit in club seating in the East balcony because we're going.
Yeah.
We're on our way next year.
Yeah. No, that's what got Matt Rule here was the transparency, the honesty. You can't just stop that as soon as you get the guy here. After the introductory press conference, I'm like, okay, Matt, hey, you do your thing, and if you need me, I'm over here. No, that has to continue throughout this entire process. And I have no reason to believe it wouldn't.
All right, 59 past the hour. A little bit later, Scott Shanley will join us. We'll talk some NFL. Week number 15 is upon us. Who would have thought the Jets and the Lions would be a big game on week 15? But this is where we are in bizarro football world. Also, Brandon Vogel from Hale Varsity will stop by. That's all part of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
There are actually two kinds of cigars. The first is the one you smoke with beloved family and friends. The second the one you enjoy with friends you've just met. And you'll find both at Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. At Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, there's a well-stocked humidor with some of the best bands from around the world and a bar with your favorite cocktails and other drinkables. So what do you say? Which cigar will you be enjoying tonight? Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has been making your game day experience one to remember for 18 years with our award-winning char-buffed wings at $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. But now your game day just got bigger and better with Oscar's newly upgraded audio-video system. Cheer on your favorite teams this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall, showing up to 8 games at once, and of course, 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
If you're like most Americans, you can see things are out of control. Global problems have local consequences, too many of them. And if the next news headline spins us into chaos, you'd better be ready. Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Today's the day to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. As we all know, calories equals energy equals survival. And as you'd expect from a true preparedness company, our food kits are in stock and ship quickly. Those who know what's coming are preparing today. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
What if this holiday season you could give your loved ones the gift of never, ever having to bend down or touch their shoes to put them on? Like ever again. That's a pretty powerful gift. And that gift would be new hands-free Skechers slip-ins. That's right. With new Skechers slip-ins, your loved ones can just step in and go to put their shoes on. And no, this isn't holiday magic. This is the latest breakthrough from Skechers, the comfort technology company. So how do new Skechers slip-ins work? There's a special comfort pillow in the heel that helps your foot slide into place and keeps it secure in cozy comfort, which means slip-ins go on easy and stay on. Plus, they come in all your favorite fashionable styles for the whole family, including kids. Imagine how easy it will be for kids to get these on. That's a gift from mom and dad, too. And slip-ins are affordable, which means you can give them to everybody on your list and even slip in a pair for yourself. Find slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. It is already Week 15, and start off Week 15 right with same-game parlay insurance from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. A huge matchup this Thursday night between the 49ers and the Seahawks. San Francisco won earlier in the year in Frisco. John, will they win in Seattle? Probably not, because they have Brock Purdy, and we all know that he is the worst quarterback perhaps of all time. Whatever you do, use our promo code 1620.
Well, you can say that, but we call him Chubba's brother around here, and Chubba's brother wants to lead Frisco to the NFC West crown. It's a big game. Make sure you parlay whatever player props you like with the game total and win bigger. And sign up with our promo code 1620 and get same-game parlay insurance right now from FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $25. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, at 4:30 this afternoon out in California, the UC Board of Regents will discuss what's going to happen with UCLA. It's very unlikely that it will block UCLA moving to the Big Ten with USC, but they will make it uncomfortable. And, I mean, there's no way they can block this. This would be devastating to UCLA. But it is, as you talk to more people that are involved at UCLA, whether they be in athletics or a fan, longtime fan, there is like little support for this move. Like the athletes, I think, are now coming to grips with, we're going to play in a different conference.
Yeah.
We're not going to be playing on the West Coast for right now all the time. But the fan base, I think their fan base is very, very lukewarm on moving to the Big Ten.
Almost like they don't want it.
Well, it's you think about the odd.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, USC and UCLA are going to be in a conference that is Midwest based as for forever being in the Pac-10 to the Pac-12.
Yeah, an anchor of even back to the Pac-8.
Just think about that first trip to Piscataway. I mean, the bi-coastal conference. You know, I mean, that is, it's always something that's hard to, as a fan, to understand the financial benefit of something like this. You start thinking about your selfish interest. We all do that. Where, how am I going to attend games as much as I could before? Jimmy, you and I were talking about the Big Ten, Big 8 earlier today. You know, how is it always kind of nice to make that quick drive down to Manhattan or to Lawrence,
drive.
Kansas. Right. Now you can get yourself to, Iowa City and Minneapolis, in relatively easy time. Other than that, it's like, okay, this isn't great. Well, Chicago, I guess, too. But, yeah, I get that part of it. But you're right. At the end of the day, it's going to go through. There's too much at stake financially. But, yeah, I mean, I understand why there's probably some resistance with the fan base, because think about how we were sort of resisting the Big Ten move at one point based on just that.
But at least there was some visible enthusiasm.
Yes, there was.
You don't sense that from UCLA. Now, USC, I think, is a little bit different. But UCLA, I don't sense the enthusiasm to leave the Pac-12 and play in the Big Ten. But because your buddy across town is moving, you have no choice. It still is amazing to me that the Pac-12 is going to move forward and they will not have the LA market.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a coup for the Big Ten to sweep in, grab USC and UCLA, but at 4:00 today, they're going to hold a Board of Regents meeting. It's got to be very unlikely that they would block this, but that's what this is about. This is like the final vote. They pushed it off a month.
And now they got to do it.
But they will make it uncomfortable for UCLA, and it will be probably a gong show when they get to the public part of it, because they go behind closed doors. But at the end of the day, they'll say, okay, UCLA can go to the Big Ten, and we'll see USC and UCLA in a couple of years. But that's happening at 4:30 today. Now, never say never, but I don't think they're going to block UCLA moving, because if they do, it would be pretty financially harmful to UCLA, and it would be very awkward for USC to join the Big Ten and get all that cash, and UCLA to be stuck in a conference that appears to be on unstable ground among the Power Five.
And what's to stop the Big Ten at that point? Like, all right, well, we're going to make this happen one way or the other. Hello, Washington and Oregon. You ready?
Yeah.
And then the chaos really starts.
I just want meeting notes and dialogue. I want the transcript on this thing. Because I always, an awkward situation, as long as it doesn't involve me, it's always fun to watch or read up
drama.
on. Yeah.
You have a lot of well-known UCLAers. So they call them UCLAers, San Diegoans.
San Diegans. Yeah,
Bill Walton. Bill Walton is pretty vocal.
Was Conference of Champions.
He urged the regents to reject the move. So does that mean when they do move that
you lose Bill Walton?
You lose Bill Walton.
If he doesn't support it, then
Bill Walton,
you got to rethink this thing.
Yeah, it might be a game changer.
You got to rethink it.
Well, and I'm sure the next time that he is on a UCLA game after this comes through and they are officially headed to the Big Ten, it'll be quite interesting.
I refuse to call them a Big Ten team. Perhaps the greatest rebounder of all time.
Tie in a Grateful Dead story in there.
It's not bad. That's a pretty good
When I was
impersonation.
touring with the Grateful, he could possibly be one of the best inbounding passers I've ever seen in this magical game.
An intergalactic treasure.
We're back with more of Mornings with Sharp and Handley after this.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Dingman's Mechanical Repair. We would rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From LeBurton, AC, heating, plumbing, and more. Time. Incidents to report at this time, but you can't expect a bit of slowdown near 90th and L. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for just a little bit of a delay from Richland Drive all the way to 90th. And on Dodge, it looks like you can expect just a tad bit of slowdown near 77th Street. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Help someone on your Christmas list get their Fernando's fix with Fernando's gift cards. Buy $100 and get a $20 gift card for yourself. Only at 75th and Pacific or 114th and Dodge. Hurry, offer ends soon. Feliz Navidad from Fernando's. FernandosOmaha.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Michael Severe for Rotella's Italian Bakery. Happy holidays to you from Rotella's. We love the holidays. I know you love the holidays, and it's a family business over at Rotella's, right? They've been doing it for 100+ years, and that's why they want to make your tradition a part of their tradition. You're going to go out, you're going to get some bread for the holiday, whether it is, of course, dinner rolls or white bread or wheat bread, or you know what? Hamburgers aren't a bad thing as well. Get yourself some hamburger bread from Rotella's. It is a great place to go and get your tradition right. I'm telling you, go to 108th and Harrison, to the bakery, where the smells are incredible and they are free. Of course, you got to buy the bread. You can go to the local grocery stores as well and pick up some bread. We always make sure to have at least one loaf of Rotella's bakery bread in our house because you never know when you need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something like that. So head over to the store right now, whether it's 108th and Harrison or your local grocery store, and get some Rotella's Italian bakery bread. 100 years of tradition.
If you love attending events like I do, there's no better tool for you than the Tickets for Less app. This free Tickets for Less app puts all of your area's top events in one place, or you can simply search for the event you want right on the home screen. And for a limited time, if you download the app and you register, you're going to receive a special discount sent directly to your phone when you download the app and create a free account. If you're looking to lock in your seats for a big concert or sporting event this holiday season, all you have to do, download the Tickets for Less app and save big today.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory. Explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Join us in supporting Food Bank for the Heartland. Right now, if you donate 5 cans of food, you can get a furnace safety inspection and cleaning for only $55. We'll take your donation right to the food bank. Checking your furnace now is a great way to avoid emergencies later. Request service at justcallburton.com.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
Everyone, meet our newest employee, Susan. She has an idea that is going to revolutionize our food ordering.
Hi, Susan. So nice to meet you.
Unfortunately, she just gave her notice, and today is her last day.
I'm gonna miss her. Why don't all companies order through EasyCater? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on easycater.com. EasyCater, food for work. That's our thing.
Cubby's supports the PACE program with Raise Some Dough. For every large pizza sold at Cubby's in the Old Market, Cubby's gives $1 to the Police Athletic League, serving at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children with athletic and educational programs. PACE has over 5,800 program participants. The league reaches kids that would not normally be able to participate in athletics like soccer and baseball due to financial situations and family dynamics. PACE wants to give every kid the opportunity at athletics and a healthy and safe environment. If you'd like to support PACE too, go to paceomaha.org.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, 7:14 on a Wednesday morning. Hello to all of our friends out west. Western Nebraska essentially is closed. They got 14 inches of snow around Valentine. So if you are snowed in, thanks for listening.
Do they start getting snow in July? Is that about the time?
Oh, beautiful in July out that way.
Is it? Okay.
Oh,
Valentine, Homa, and Becky.
I don't get west of Kearney typically, and I feel like you always get the interstate cam, and you get like a live look. I swear there's like snow on I-80, that west part, like as early as maybe August.
That's what I always said about Ames.
Maybe August. Ames, Iowa?
Oh yeah, I've never been
Really?
there when it's warm.
Oh, okay.
Now part of it is I worked basketball, but
Yeah.
I'm just convinced I could go in July.
I always feel bad for all of our friends out in Western Nebraska because they get hit hard with this stuff.
It does wide open wintertime, but in the summer it's beautiful. Great place to golf. A lot of things to see.
Yeah.
Sunsets are beautiful. But now they got 14 inches of snow. And they also, in that part of the state, would you consider Kearney Western Nebraska? Yes, we have that debate on this show.
It's Western-ish, but I still consider it central.
So bummer yesterday for Nebraska Kearney. Nebraska Kearney football has kind of ridden the roller coaster of some good times and then some not so good times. They play in a very difficult conference, the MIAA, but they hit a home run a few years back when they hired Josh Lynn. And Josh Lynn walked in, and great family guy, was big in the Kearney community, had lifted that program up where they were competitive, and they were a playoff-worthy team in Division II in a difficult conference. And, oh, by the way, had a two-time All-American at quarterback the last couple of years in T.J. Davis. But he is leaving. He is going to West Texas A&M, which is closer to his family. So he is going from one Division II school to another. But it's a big loss for UNK. So they got 18 wins over the last 2 years. Kearney is one of those programs that I always thought when they went through their downtime, how come you can't win in football at Kearney? How come you can't win in all sports? It's a really good school. They got really, really nice facilities. But he came in and he lifted their football program up, and he's actually left it in a pretty good spot. Now, I understand, I was communicating with somebody who covers Kearney, that they've had some guys go into the portal, and so they might have some roster transition. And this has been like, he kept it really quiet that he was searching for another job. So he leaves. But again, I think he leaves the position in a good spot, but it is a big loss. So you start to think, okay, how good of a job is that? Where it's located? Who would be ideal to coach at Kearney? Think of coaches that have a Nebraska connection that can recruit, and it would be nice to see Kearney recruit more Omaha Lincoln. I think they could make hay. You know, there's a lot of small schools that recruit this area, but I think Kearney has a good enough name that, you know, maybe more in Omaha and Lincoln recruiting. But who could take over the Kearney football program?
You talking college coaches right now?
Yeah. Coaches that have a Nebraska connection that might be unemployed. I got a name for you. I'm wondering if you're going to match
you look
my
like
name.
you had something.
Now, it's not the obvious.
Oh, okay. I was that would not have been my landing spot if we were playing the Scott Frost. Where will he be next? Can I get a hint?
Bill Bush.
Oh,
so Bill Bush began his coaching career at Nebraska Wesleyan. I think he has his master's from Kearney. You're a Nebraska guy. Now, Bill Bush has basically spent his entire career in the FBS Power 5 level. And he's coming off a year where his stock probably is, I don't know, I think Bill Bush's stock has never been as high as it is now. It's always been well considered in the football world.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, when Urban Meyer went to Utah, who did he keep? He kept two coaches on his staff at Utah. One is now the head coach, and the other is Bill Bush.
Bill Bush, yeah.
Okay, so Bill Bush in the coaching circles is highly thought of for his relationship building. He's just
a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So that's first. There's a lot of a-holes that are in coaching, but then there are people that are Bill Bushes of the world that are good people, and they also are very good at their job. So his stock probably has never been as high as it is now. And he's currently unemployed. I don't know what he wants to do next. I mean, after his dabbling as a defensive coordinator at Nebraska, is that his next step where he's never been a defensive coordinator full-time before? Is that what he wants to do? Is there a program out there that would take a chance on him that is a group of 5 or Power 5, and they say, we'd like Bill Bush as our defensive coordinator? I don't know if that's the case. Or is he just going to be relegated? I'm always going to be the defensive back special teams guy. I don't know what he wants to do now. But I'm thinking that job, where I think they have an athletic director that wants to be competitive in football, and there's no reason you can't, even in a conference that gives you some of the best teams in Division II.
Yeah, MIAA is really good.
Wouldn't Bill Bush be a name that would pop up now? Would he be interested? Don't know. Because I don't think he wants to be a head coach. Like, he's not in pursuing a Group of Five or Power Five head coach. But what about a head coach at Nebraska Kearney?
Here's why I would say it's interesting, because that nomadic lifestyle that Bill Bush has obviously gotten used to, it can't be something that is the end game when you think of, your family. And I know he's recently married. It's not like he's been married for a very long time, but have a family. You want to be able to establish some roots somewhere. And given, as you pointed out, with his history in Nebraska being very well known, and I would also agree, I don't think his stock has been higher, at least in the state, when it comes to appreciating that and really trying to make some type of competitive offer. But I think if you're Bill Bush and you're looking for a situation that more than likely gives you longevity, something you really probably haven't had in a very long time, that security, if that means a lot to you, and this is all about what Bill Bush, as you mentioned, what he prioritizes right now, because what he would prioritize 5 years ago in the coaching world could be completely different. That is a place, yes, you can win. The conference in the MIAA is one of the very best in Division II football. So it's not, it's not a powder puff type of conference. Like, that's big boy football.
There are great teams in that.
Absolutely there are. So you could convince me that he would be a name to keep your eye on. And I do think if Bill Bush is in that point of his life where he wants to find something that he can really settle into and call home for, years to come, even over a decade, I would think it would be something that has a very similar profile to Kearney, whether it's Kearney or somewhere else. And now knowing that there's a vacancy there, let me put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bill Bush would be the first guy that if you're the Kearney athletic director, you make him tell you no.
It's a great idea. I'm biased. I like Kearney. My wife's alma mater, so she always spoke very glowingly about it, and it's a good
You married
place.
a Loper?
Yeah. Yep.
Now,
That's
if
a tie-in.
you get into the old guard, they still refer to it as Kearney State.
Yeah.
That's when you know
it was UNK when she was there, but I do know some people that it was Kearney State when they went there.
I have old high school coaches that still refer to it as Kearney State. But yeah, I Kearney before they got in the MIAA. And now, yeah, like that's...
All right, I'll give you another name.
Okay.
And it's, again, another Nebraska connection. And he's done a really good job at Midland, and they probably don't want to lose him. Jeff Jamrog.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Jamrog, since leaving Nebraska, has turned the Midland football program into a really good program.
Yeah.
You're in a good spot. You're just outside of Metro Omaha. You have a name, good school.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really good school in Fremont. They treat football really well. They kind of have their own separate facilities when you're at a small college.
Yeah.
Sometimes all the facilities are together. All the programs are lumped in together. Kind of football is separate at Midland. I wonder if Jeff Jamrog would be interested in that. Look at that. I'm trying to put people to work today. but one doesn't have a job and the other has a job.
I really like the Bill Bush one.
It ties into what you just said, recruiting Omaha and Lincoln. These are people that right away would get you in the schools who were like, yeah, of course. Come on. Let's talk.
I think there are a lot of people that would look at it if Bill Bush is going to be a head coach somewhere that, he's got to be at the very least FCS. But this is where getting into the mind of these coaches and what they prioritize at this point of their life. And if you do a deeper dive into Kearney, the conference, where they are as a football program, it can make more sense than what maybe people would initially say. It's a very interesting name to sort of throw out there. I know you're not trying to say, hey, there's some real connections here, that there's conversations to be had. Maybe you are. I'm not trying to say you are, but I think that if you're looking for a name that could be a good fit, oh, hell yeah, you make him tell you no.
Would Coach Bush like some stability? Listen, so this is the life of being a football coach. Started his career in '89 as a GA at Wesleyan, and then he was a GA at Nebraska from '90 to '93. He goes to be a GA at Wisconsin. Then he goes to Northern Arizona. He's at Northern Arizona for 2 years. Then he goes to New Mexico State from '97 to 2000. Then he goes to Utah from '01 to '03. Then he comes to Nebraska for 1 year as special teams coordinator, outside linebacker. Then they change his title to special teams coordinator safeties on Callahan's staff. And then that staff gets fired. He goes to Utah State, and he's at Utah State where he was the defensive coordinator. I misspoke. He's never been a full-time Power 5 defensive coordinator. So at Utah State, he's the defensive coordinator from 09 to 12. Then he goes back to Wisconsin. Then remember, he had that stint for a year at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about former Nebraska assistants that go to Ohio State and they hang out for a year? Bill Bush, Tim Beck. Then he went to Rutgers, and then he went to LSU, and then he ended up at Nebraska for the last couple of years.
Yeah, U-Haul, speed dial.
That
would make me crave stability.
It makes my head hurt hearing that. It does. But it's amazing what you get used to as well. And if it's always constantly chasing, the program that you feel is going to best fit you, and you don't really care about if this is either a short-term gig. Hopefully, I think you go into every situation hoping that, you're going to be able to, again, establish some roots here. But if you're used to it, and it takes, I think, people who have been around that lifestyle for a while to accept, hey, I might be here for a year, I might be here for 6 years, and I'm okay with that. But at some point, as you're getting a little bit older and that grind becomes too much, not only on you, but your family, the stability you would think would be something that you'd crave. But, that makes sense to me. But I can't speak for Bill Bush on that. I think it'd be cool, though.
You go down the rabbit hole of coaches and that lifestyle until you reach the pinnacle. Man, you are all over the country trying to make it, and you're at you hope that the guy that hired you sticks around,
right?
Doesn't get fired, because he gets fired, you usually get fired.
Mm-hmm.
The families that if you are married to a coach, male or female, and they are trying to make it, so they've chosen that's their livelihood, and they have to go to, Dawson Community College in Wyoming to start their career, and they work their way up, and they go from the Southland Conference to the Sun Belt to the West Coast Conference, and then they're in the Mountain West, and then finally they arrive in the Big Ten. If you just go down the rabbit hole of looking at coaches' resumes of their background, there are very few John Shires of the world that get to go back to their alma mater,
right?
And then they're promoted, and at a short age, they don't have much on their resume.
Yeah, that is without question.
But like the Bill Bush resume is very typical of somebody that's been in the business for a long time. That they're not at one place, for 20 years, or for even as assistant for 5 to 7 years. They got 3 years, they're in, they're out.
Yeah. I would think, again, this is me, just hearing all that, I would think you would crave security, stability. But I think at this point in a lot of those coaches, their path, they get it. They've embraced that. They've accepted that. And more importantly, their family has too. Now, if you're able to be rewarded with the job that you're ultimately seeking, then it makes it probably that much more sweet. But what is that job? I don't know. I'm not sure what it is.
That's the first name that came to my mind. Chris says Scott Frost.
I wondered if someone would.
I didn't think that's where you were going, but when you said that, I'm like, no, you're not going there.
I didn't either. Now, if it was the first hour, possibly, because anything goes in the first hour.
Know, would in Kearney, I'm very far from Wood River. How would that hire go over? Now, I don't think their athletic director would do that, because you want somebody that's going to be. I think your next move, because you just had a football coach that was pretty good and kind of brought your football program back to relevance and has left it in a good spot. You want somebody that's going to be there for a while.
Yeah.
I wonder how
that would be
if that would go over very well, because that he would not be there very well.
No.
And it is the juice worth the squeeze of just a couple of years? I mean, they're asking the same thing at Colorado.
Yep. Yeah, that's
same thing at Colorado.
Deion's not retiring in Boulder.
No.
I like the first two.
He'll own a home there, but he's not retiring there.
All right, 7:29. Scott Chanley, Brandon Vogel. A little bit later, mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
Would you rather know the lyrics to every song ever by heart, or be handed $5,000 cash?
$5,000. In what instance would knowing the lyrics to any Heart song benefit me?
No, not heart songs. Like know the songs
by the band Heart.
No, like by heart. Like,
oh,
dumbass.
That's fair. That's a fair critique by you.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Getting chilly Wednesday. Expect cloudy and breezy conditions throughout the day. Southwest winds will gust 20 to 25 miles per hour. There's a chance for a few late afternoon and evening flurries with highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of slowdown near 77th and Dodge. Then on L Street, it looks like things are going to slow down just a little bit near 90th. And then on Center, be prepared for some minor delays from 192nd to 165th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Through January 4th, 2023, enter non-winning Nebraska Lottery Holiday Wishes scratch tickets for a chance to win $1, $5, or $10,000. It's the Holiday Wishes Second Chance promotion, so enter today. Top prize odds vary by game.
T-Mobile says they offer home internet. But if their internet comes from a cell phone network, you should know. It's just phone internet, not home internet. Keep your home up to speed with Cox. Cox Internet is faster and has more reliable download speeds than T-Mobile 5G home internet. Cox is the real home internet you're looking for. Based on Cox analysis of Ookla speed test intelligence data Q3 2022 and Cox serviceable areas, visit cox.com/internet for details.
Your vehicle is important. It gets you where you need to go, but it does much more than that. I'm Darcy with Dingman's Collision Center, and at Dingman's, we know your vehicle is an investment and that safety is your priority. To make sure your vehicle is as safe as it was prior to an accident, bring it to Dingman's for proper, safe, and certified repairs. We protect you and your investment. We've been voted Best of Omaha for the past 17 years. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Find us at dingmans.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up or keeping it up, or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues, prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before. And chances are, your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to 4hims.com/perfect. That's 4hims.com/perfect for your free visit. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
It's time to save during 42 Degrees Winter Sale with savings on premium Kratom starting at $11.99, Delta from $7.99, and CBD starting at $9.99. Only at The Source, 42 Degrees, by your mom's house.
Unsportsmanlike conduct is on the road. We're live at Cross Stream Brewing this Wednesday from 2 to 6 for their 12 Jams of Christmas. They'll have 12 all-new brews all in one night. Join us for Unsportsmanlike Conduct this Wednesday, 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone.
Having a hard time finding the perfect gift for someone? Do they eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner? If so, a gift card for Bailey's Breakfast and Lunch, Shuck's Fish House, and Absolutely Fresh Seafood Market is the way to go. Order online at absolutelyfresh.com and have one mailed or emailed to the recipient of your choice.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We continue to grow and add new customers. Many employers are looking for new ideas for their staff as people return to the office. Our pantry service is a great office amenity for staff and guests. Fresh food, snacks, coffee, water, and other beverages for employees and guests. Enhance your office experience with pantry service from Host Coffee. Learn more at hostcoffee.net.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
As a puck drop right off the face-off counter, Sherry coming in along the right side, and now they score, and it's Alex Ovechkin, 7:98, and he does it 24 seconds into the first period. Knocking on the door of history. It's 1-0 Washington. Coming far wing. Murphy in for the blue line, battling Milano, and a puck sent the distance all the way down into the Chicago zone. The Blackhawks starting another turnover in front, and Mantha feeding it to Kuznetsov, and Mrazek diving. A shot, they score! And it's Alex Ovechkin! And it's 800 goals in the National Hockey League!
So number 8 last night got 800, did it with a hat trick. How appropriate for the Washington Capitals. And I know we don't talk a lot of hockey this time of the year, but an incredible moment because now Ovechkin joins a trio of players that have hit 800. So Gordie Howe is at 801. But he is closing in of sports when you get into deep sports discussions, Nick, about untouchable records.
Yep.
Like, is anybody ever going to hit 400 during a season again? You know, Pete Rose's hits record, home run record, all of that kind of stuff. Where in sports where numbers are more front and center in baseball and hockey and in basketball, because we're about a little over a month away from LeBron James being the all-time leading scorer in the history of the NBA. I mean, if he continues to play like he did last night in a crazy game between the Lakers and Celtics, by the way, but I mean, there's 20 years of tread on those tires, and LeBron is still playing at a fairly high level. We'll talk a little bit later. Lakers-Celtics game was but Ovechkin getting to 800. He is closing in on one of those you thought would be an untouchable record in Wayne Gretzky's 894.
Yeah.
I mean, that is on like one of the Mount Rushmores of untouchable records. And the game of hockey was much different. Gretzky hardly ever got touched. Now you play in a different era of hockey where you get touched, you get grabbed. It's not as wheeling and dealing as it used to be. Now it's kind of shifted back a little bit. But Ovechkin, during this whole course of the way the game has changed in hockey on how, is it physical, is it wide open? He's got to 800. That untouchable record of 894 by the great one, I don't think is untouchable anymore. So he's now 95 away from setting the all-time record. Ovi isn't getting
37 years old.
But he's, at 37, he's still sniping a 96-mile-an-hour wrister.
Right.
He has changed his lifestyle. I mean, he's not single anymore.
Not driving 100 miles an hour on the beltway.
and just pounding, vodka after vodka. So he's kind of taking care of himself.
Yeah.
I believe that one of those untouchable records in sports is going to be broken before it's all said and done, and it'll be Alexander Ovechkin.
That's bold. And you're right. I mean, the fact that here we are with him at 37 years old, with that at least in sight, that's where you have to start that conversation. I still think it's these next 2 years are really going to tell you exactly if this thing is doable. And it's about his overall physical presence. Because when I'm trying to think, there's probably an average age of retirement of just seeing that physical ability when it takes a significant dip. But then there's the guys that are just in a league of their own, like Alex Ovechkin, like the guy that he'll be chasing in Wayne Gretzky. It is interesting that if you do get to a point where you're taking your day-to-day a lot more serious, understanding what 37 does to you as opposed to 27, what you can get away with at 27 as you can 37. When you're real and honest about that, it's not like this guy was, pounded Cheetos either. I mean, there was always going to be a nutritional element, but that's what I'm so curious is he is approaching 40. And you would think these next 2 years, if he would really eclipse that, are going to be vital as far as his health, his availability. and what he can do going forward here in this next year. What his number is by the end of this season and what his health is going into the next year. I think this is that crucial period of, is it realistic or not? Because it's easy to now look at what he accomplished last night. And you're right, it's very fitting that he had a hat trick last night to a clip set. But if you look at this season going forward, does he still have that same type of impact? Is he on the ice, 75, 80% of the games that they have remaining? This is obviously a good organization. You're going to be playing a lot of hockey. They invest into it. So where are we at the end of the season and where are we at the halfway point of next year, I think is going to tell you, because 37 for professional athletes can impact them in so many different ways. The example that we always talk about right now is what Tom Brady's doing in his mid-40s. Obviously, that's the exception. Hockey's a different sport. Hockey is a grind. It's physical, but also if you are still a master of your craft, which Alex Ovechkin is, and you continue to sort of counter what every team does to try to neutralize what you do, he's got a shot. I'm not as convinced maybe as you are. I think this time next year, where he stands is going to tell you all you need to know.
So he's at 800. He's 95 away at the age of 37. Hell, Jaromir Jagr is still in some foreign country playing what?
Is he really?
Yeah, and he'll never retire the skates.
Still have the mullet though.
So here's
gray mullet.
So here's what I think are some of the unbreakable sports records that are safe. Do we ever imagine anybody playing in Major League Baseball every single game for 16 straight years?
No.
So 26-32 is pretty secure. 8 consecutive championships, Celtics, pretty secure.
Yes.
Somebody hitting in 56 straight games.
I would.
Out of those three, that'd be your closest one, but unlikely.
I would still lean.
So we've gotten into the 40s. Pete Rose had 44, in 78.
Yeah.
So Joe DiMaggio's 56 game hit streak, secure. Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points a game in one season. Secure.
Yeah.
Now, the one part of Gretzky, unbreakable, 894, I think it's going to be broken. No one will touch 2,857 points.
No.
This one is pretty secure. No one will ever touch Bill Russell's 11 championships.
Not even close.
I mean, look, so the one guy that you thought, man, could this happen? Think about Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter won 4 World Series titles in his first 5 years. But then where was the next one after 2000? Right. Here's another unbreakable record. I've had this debate before, so this is why I'm just rattling these off. Is Jerry Rice. I mean, Jerry Rice had what? What's more likely? Are you going to catch 1,500 yards in passes over 15 seasons or 1,150 yards in passes over 20 seasons? I mean, neither will happen again. So Jerry Rice, 22,895 receiving yards.
No. That's a good one to bring up, too.
Barry Bonds. No one in baseball will ever be walked 120 times intentionally again in a season.
Nope.
Now, the one that is definite, this will never, ever, 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 ever happen, and I will put all my money on the money line here that it will never happen. And it's amazing that this is an actual record. Cy Young's complete games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You know what that is?
Over his career?
It's over his career. An insane number.
749.
Yeah, I was going to say 400.
Oh, my God.
You would have to average 40 complete games in 19 seasons.
Oh, my God. I didn't realize it was that much.
You won't even
Starting pitchers barely pitch out of the 6th inning anymore.
No. Not asked to either.
What about the NFL rushing record? With the way the game has changed, is anyone going to run the ball that much to eclipse Emmitt Smith? It's different because guys are not running 25, 30 carries a game, and if they are, they're not going to be in the league nearly that long. It's become more of a passing league.
Yeah, that one I could, because you do get some of those, and again, it comes back to health. If you look at certain running backs,
I mean, Frank Gore played a long time,
right,
and that's
certain running backs, if they're able to kind of get through,
away.
Yeah, you get through that shelf life, the old shelf life. If you're able to withstand that, it's rare. It's doable, in my opinion. Don't know who it'd be, but it's doable.
I don't know. That's a good one because, just to get to 10,000 yards rushing now in the NFL in your career, look at a guy like Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry is like further ahead of people, but he's still a long way away of 18,355.
And his style does not lend itself to a 14, 15-year
But
career.
you get to 10,000, you're like, wow, that's a pretty good NFL career.
Yeah.
Well, if you get to 10,000, you are, 26th all-time rushing. Look at the names of the top 5 rushers of all time and how when they played in their career. So you have Emmett, Peyton, Gore, Barry Sanders, and I think Adrian Peterson is the 5th all-time leading rusher.
He got up to 5.
So him and Curtis Martin are 5th, which Curtis Martin being the 5th or 6th all-time leading rusher in the NFL still blows me away. I'll give you another one that I will take to the bank that will never be broken again in sports. UConn, their women, 111-game winning streak.
Yeah.
No way.
That's not going to happen.
No.
And I'll be fair. So we like winners and losers. Nobody is going to lose 26 in a row in the NFL like Tampa Bay did.
No.
Look how rare it is.
Because
Because
let's say you go 0-17.
Yeah.
You're going to make a change.
Yep.
You have to fall into a win before you get to 0-9 the next year or 0-10.
Yeah. Going back to the Ovechkin thing too. So it is the second oldest roster, I believe, is what the Caps have. So they're in for an overhaul. But this is why I go back to their organizational structure. They're still that type of franchise, getting a cup as well here recently. They just seem to they refuse to kind of fall into rebuild. That will serve him well, but they're going to have to overhaul it. So you overhaul that roster and you're still claiming, hey, we're not rebuilding this thing. Okay, that's great in theory, but how will a lot of those pieces work together? Because all of this it is very important to the Ovechkin conversation. Because like I said, these next 2 years for him to hit Gretzky's mark, this roster has to come together fast because it's going to look different these next 2 years.
Judd brings up, and I agree with him, Ricky Henderson. No one's going to steal 1,406 bases again.
That's another great one. I don't think that gives. That one, to me, is one of the more underrated marks. You just do not get enough run of what Ricky Henderson and the amount of stolen bases. You just don't see that.
Well, the game has changed now where guys don't steal as many bases as they used to in the past.
Well,
it's not part of the game.
Yeah. The analytics tell you. You're giving them outs. You're giving them possible outs by doing that. So you minimize the risk.
And I know you're a big analytics guy.
Not big analytics guy.
You and Will Bolt breaking down analytics.
Not a big analytics guy, but
Brian chimes in on the phone. Jack Nicklaus's majors.
Well, now
probably
would be the closest. Yes, I would tend to believe. And that sport has changed where your body's, because of all of the attention to physically being fit.
Yes.
And the off-season training where it's a year-round, there are more bodies that are bound to crack.
Yeah.
I mean, when you say that out loud, it just adds to, man, Jack Nicklaus was able to do that.
If Tiger doesn't get in a car accident, do you think it happens?
Yes.
Yeah.
But now I can't watch Tiger. I watched briefly the match, which very few people knew was on.
Yeah.
I can't watch Tiger limp. Man, that was painful to watch him limp around. I want one more shot at glory, and I just want to see him in April at Augusta to try to get me to Sunday. I mean, I know it's not going to happen again, but man, it's tough to watch.
Well, and he said Sunday too. That's where it's noticeable more than anything because it wears on him.
But his limp in the match, that's a tough watch.
Yep.
Ed says, what about Brett Favre? 305 interceptions.
See, there's so many bad quarterbacks there, but they would have to play that many games. That's why it is.
It was a unique deal with Brett, but yeah,
it's a dubious honor, but it's still a record.
305 interceptions. So that's 15 interceptions for 20 straight years.
Yeah,
to beat that.
I mean, are you getting that opportunity year in and year out if you're prone to turning the ball over that much?
No, more than likely you are making a nice little payday as a backup quarterback named Chase Daniel.
Right.
who we talked about, I believe Friday, lived the American dream, $60 million career. All you had to do is hold a clipboard, be a team guy.
Might have to
Sign
start
me
a
up.
game here and there. Might have to, but guess what? They're not going to put everything on your plate.
Has a
either.
couple Super Bowl rings.
All right, coming up the next segment, Gary's dream of spring football in Nebraska has ended for another year. I'll explain what I mean. It has nothing to do with high school, by the way, even though I'm a big advocate for spring football. But my dream for the spring football game has taken another year off.
Okay.
Something that was said last night on the radio. We'll do all that coming up next. It's Sharp and Handley in the morning at 1620 The Zone. Hey, this time of the year is a time we create memories. Well, we do it every morning from 6 to 10, and you can create memories with us and my good friends over at Tickets for Less. You know, this time of the year, you got all these holiday shows going on. You got a lot of great sporting events that are currently going on around our area, and Tickets for Less wants to get you there as their big Tixmas promotion is going on at Tickets for Less. So head over there now, ticketsforless.com, or you can check out the app, which is great to download and gives you all the opportunities, the contests, the deals, the Tixmas specials, some of your favorite events right now on a discount. And you can win other prizes. Tixmas season is underway. It's the best season at Tickets for Less. So check out the Tixmas specials page at ticketsforless.com. Each week, there are new specials all the way through Christmas Eve. Memories for Life start at ticketsforless.com.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Here's a little Christmas tip. Never ask Santa for adult beverages. Seriously, can you imagine the legal implications of carrying quality, locally brewed Nebraska beer or cider while flying a sleigh? So if you want your family and friends to gift you some Nebraska brewed awesomeness, ask and ye shall receive. Your local Nebraska Brewers Guild wants you to know that local brewers are currently working on special seasonal brews to make your holiday get-togethers merry and bright. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild.
Hey everybody, it's Michael here for Ted and Wally's. One of the things that Ted and Wally's does is that go along with the seasons, whether it's the summer or it's the spring or it's the fall, and of course, the winter and holidays, and the holiday flavors are amazing. Let me suggest a couple of them for you. Coffee beignet and ooey gooey cake. You are going to love both of them, and so will your family and friends. Swing by the two locations, whether it's Benson, next to Taste of New Orleans, or in the Old Market, and get the holiday flavors today. Grab a gift card while you're there as well, and always tell them Severe sent you.
It's beginning to feel like winter, and 42 Degrees has taken the chill off with deals like this. Let's start with our premium Kratom starting at $11.99. CBD starting at $9.99. Looking to try out our Delta products? We have them starting at $7.99. With the largest selection of pipes, vaporizers, candles, incense, a knowledgeable, professional, and friendly staff. Why shop anywhere else? 42 Degrees by your mom's house.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
Dashing through the crowds to my Verizon store. Gonna shop phones, tablets, smartwatches, and more. There's something for everyone on my holiday list. It's the only place to go right now for all those techie gifts.
Head over to your Verizon store now and get a free 5G phone with select trade-in and select 5G unlimited plans. And another gift, like a tablet, smartwatch, and earbuds. All on Verizon.
This offer won't last long, so I'm going there right now. Verizon has the gifts to make my family say wow.
'Tis the season to switch to Verizon. Get to your local Verizon store now. The network America relies on. Verizon.
A service plan is required for gifts. 5G phone up to $999.99 device payment purchase or full retail purchase with newer upgrade smartphone line required. Less up to $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for offer details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, a little bit later, Scott Shanley will join us for his NFL weekly segment. Brandon Vogel as well. I will tell you about I have a spring football dream at Nebraska that is not going to come true, as it was squashed again yesterday. But first, there is Fremont Fred. Hi, Fred.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Fred.
Oh, not too bad. Just out here doing the Lord's work, spreading cheer.
All right.
You guys,
Santa,
I was just
Santa
really going
Fred.
to call it. What's that?
I said Santa Fred.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm fat and I do have a red shirt on today, but I just wanted to call in, congratulate you, Gary, thank you, actually, for the $25 donation in the fantasy league. You're sitting on the bench with me this year. Nick's got to take on a steel worker this weekend, try and make it through.
Is that what I'm up against? Okay.
Yeah. He had Deebo Samuel, I see, but it looks like he made some adjustments to try and take you on.
Okay.
He'll see what happens with that. But
Yeah.
thank you guys for the money there. That's going to my drinking fund. You guys mentioned something about OnlyFans.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I had
Here we go.
one experience with OnlyFans. Get your dump button ready.
Okay.
So I decided I got a smart TV and I thought, well, I'm going to try to pull up this OnlyFans. I'm home by myself. So I pull it up and I'm standing there and I can't see anything except a naked fat guy standing there. And I thought, what the heck? And then I realized the TV wasn't on. So you boys have a good day.
Thank you.
Good to hear you together.
Hey, thank you, Fred.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Fred.
Thanks, Fred.
Yes. Jimmy?
How's the stream?
So, Jimmy, I don't know if you've never met Fremont Fred.
I
have you?
don't think I have.
So he said
Heard of
he wanted to talk about Carney football.
Oh, no. I didn't have a chance to change the subject line before.
Oh, okay.
Because we were coming back on. Oh, no.
Why does Fred want to talk about
I thought maybe
UNK?
he'd weigh in on
Ben
Midland.
had
Jeff
called
Jamrock.
earlier and wanted to talk about UNK football. Fred did not want to talk about football at all.
So now you have your first taste of Fred. Fred doesn't call as often. He usually just shows up.
Yeah. What's good, though?
Well, I've heard. Didn't he show up a couple times at the Jones Brothers for that? Yeah.
He shows up a lot of different places. Let's just put
Just
it
never
that
know.
way.
You never know where Fred's going to be.
So last night, Trev announced that the spring game is April 22nd, which I immediately went to my Google Calendar to go, please, that suggestion I made to you, please make it happen. And it remains on a Saturday. So I would like to make the spring game at Nebraska a Friday night under the lights affair with a post-game concert, just blow the thing out. I like to go big. So I'm thinking you'll have the Friday night to yourself, not Masters weekend. This is post. You'll get all this attention, be kind of cool. Then I'm reminded that a lot of people, that's their only time they come to Lincoln to a game is in the spring game, and they drive from a long way away.
Yeah.
You can't have them staying in a hotel, driving at night. So that's why we do it at Saturday. So they're going to play Saturday at 1 o'clock on April 22nd. So mark your calendar, reserve your hotel room now. I don't think baseball is in town. I think softball is in town. They try, there's been times where they've made it a big weekend where the spring game gets over, people walk across the bridge, they go to the baseball game, softball, whatever. So my dream has failed once again to have the Nebraska spring game on a Friday night. But here's and this is way down the road, but when you announce the date, people are like, I'm calling up the Graduate or Embassy Suites or the Lincoln version of the American Inn, and I'm reserving rooms. Is it safe to say that this year's spring game, and a lot of it depends on the weather, people are going to go. And I feel bad because we don't get to go on the field and say no to drugs anymore. It's now become an issue in the state.
Yeah.
Fentanyl use is up. All drug use is up because of a spring game. They don't let you go on the field and do the say no to drugs pledge. It's really a bummer. Will this be, not in terms of excitement where you'll get, 86,000, I think was Frost's first spring game?
Yeah.
But is it safe to say that this year's spring game, I know it's way off. People are already like, come on, man. Talk about recruiting. Well, you got to, when you get to see the recruits play in the spring game.
Ties in.
This will be the most curious spring game at Nebraska since Bill Callahan's first spring game. Wondering what that offense would look like.
Yeah.
Now people are going to go, what is this offense or this defense going to look like? I think it'll be the most curious spring game since Callahan's first spring game. Maybe it'll bring some excitement. You never know what the roster will look like between now and then. But I think in terms of curiosity, going, who is there? Who are these guys? And what are they running? I'm going to go see in person. Because I also believe there was a lot of negative feedback last year about touch football.
Yeah.
I know you don't break the bank paying for a spring game, but if you're going to take the time to go to the spring game, give fans something more than touch football.
Thud.
The feedback that they got in Lincoln was not good.
Right.
People were like, "What is this?" Hey, it's my annual ritual. I know you don't want to have injuries, you don't want to show too much, but what was that? So a football guy that's the AD with a guy that, I don't know, he got to find out a little bit about his team, and it's his first spring game. I would think that's going to be closer to some real football this year than the touch football that they had last year, just because the negative feedback that came from fans about what did I just witness? Did I just waste my time? Give me something.
I want to make sure I'm understanding the question.
More than the second half tackling.
You're asking or even implying that this could be the most, oops, hey, had my elbow on the cough button. This could be the most interesting, like the most curious.
Yeah, fans will be curious for this.
But it's more in a positive way. Like, I really want to see this. I can get on board with that, but I thought the Mike Riley first spring game was one that people are like, huh. But I still think people were still trying to make sense of the hire. Didn't know much about the staff, didn't know much about Mike Riley, how that was all going to fit. And remember, you're coming off of a completely different generation, or at least coaching tenure, than what Matt Rule is coming off of. You're coming off of minimum 9-win seasons with Bo. And now it's supposed to be, okay, same thing, but better. But I feel like there was reluctance to sort of embrace that overall hire. I don't get the same sense with this one, even though it's the, quote, outsider, that, okay, there's a lot of college football experience. There's the pro football experience that didn't necessarily work, but you're down on your luck as a football program. This is supposed to be the guy that's supposed to turn that around. The curiosity there is one, I think, of more intrigue than I think that probably existed when Mike Riley was here. I think it was more of like, you know what? I think I might wait until that first game against BYU.
Yeah, I don't even remember Mike Riley's first spring game.
I couldn't tell you either. And I know it was actually, was that one pretty well attended?
Probably was. If the weather is nice,
yeah,
people are going to go.
I think that one did have a decent attendance, but I feel like if you compare the two, quote, outside hires, I think there's more intrigue on this one, given where the program has been and the man who hired this guy, as opposed to the last one.
I just happen to stick with the word curiosity, because are they going to show what this defense is going to look like? Are they going to play real football? Who are these guys? What is it all going to look like?
So you want to know if there's going to be less thud?
Well, come on.
No, it was.
You gotta have a little bit more than you gave people last year.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I understood it, but I didn't like it.
Well, there's a lot of fans that did not like it. They got a lot of pushback on how the spring game was structured last year. Now, no one is saying, hey, can you play 60 minutes of just regular beat 'em up football, and can the quarterback not have a green jersey on? But at least give me something. And I believe they will do that this year, even though they should be doing it under the lights on a Friday night.
I love that idea.
With a post-game concert.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this. I love that idea.
I should listen to the show closer.
Do you mention this every day?
Not every day. Every year.
Every year?
Yeah. I have a couple of things that I will, I will hit as my bookmarks. And that's one of them that I
think it's a great idea.
I'd like to be a little bit different. Do a spring game on a Friday night.
I'm all about a post-game concert.
Yeah.
Make it a big old blowout.
You make it a huge celebration of football on that Friday.
I love it.
And let kids back on the field to say no to drugs.
I don't want to dismiss.
You want to work on the young fan base?
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't have a memory of going on the field when they were a little kid at a spring game and Tom Osborne telling you, don't say yes to drugs, say no to drugs.
Say yes. That should have been it. Don't say yes to drugs instead of just say no.
No, I mean, didn't they give the tips? I was never here for that. So not that I've dabbled in drug use because I wasn't at a Nebraska spring game. But then they say, don't get into a car with strangers and don't do drugs, and obey your parents and say your prayers and eat your vegetables, and you'll be good.
And you'll play.
And that was part of the thing.
Run the ball.
Yeah. Read the edge.
April 22nd.
Full back on 3.
Yeah. You'll have fun. You'll
you'll
be the first doing the Big Red Overreaction Spring Show.
Oh, is there? Well,
hey, congratulations.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why there's not a Friday night one.
No, but the rookie does the show. It's actually gonna be the first time ever. So congratulations.
Well, I'm happy this is on a Saturday now. It was really exciting.
How miserable?
Do I go solo on that too?
Yeah, this year.
Okay, all right, cool.
How miserable would it be doing a Big Red Overreaction after a spring game?
Misery doesn't that doesn't even do it justice.
That one dude on the Xbox calls back.
I don't know where you even start.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the fourth string quarterback.
Who is our 2023 Breon Carnes winner? Got to have one every year. Who was that last year? Was it Cynic? He got some good run in there.
I have completely forgotten about this past year's spring game, probably because I was. You know what? I was bouncing around. I had numerous friends that were in town.
So, I think Jared Cynic was very close.
Okay,
to that. Then one year is Brody Belt.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a quarterback that got lifted up on the player's shoulders and carried off the field at the end of the game. And I can't remember his name either.
That wasn't A.J. Bush, was it?
No. A.J. Bush would have been a tough lift. A big dude. All right. Scott Shanley, who's played in a spring game before, coming up a little bit later. Brandon Vogel has covered a spring game. We will discuss another part of last night, a little nugget that was dropped. If you're in the East Balcony, you're expecting some communication from the athletic department because your seats they are changing. But in this day and age of a lot of TV money, does ticket money matter? And less availability, higher prices. Is Nebraska just doing what everybody else is going to do down the road when it comes to entertainment? That's all this still to come as we roll till 10. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, you can start NFL Week 15 off right with an NFL same-game parlay insurance from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Now, it doesn't matter if you are new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay falls one leg short. Same-game parlay is a perfect way to combine your bets for a chance for a bigger payday. We got a monster matchup tomorrow night in Seattle. There is playoff positioning on the line between the 49ers and the Seahawks. Don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play, but we do know that Christian McCaffrey probably will have a big night. I would go over rushing yards. And how about Geno Smith anytime touchdown? Seahawks need to bounce back. 49ers trying to continue the momentum on their road to get back to the Super Bowl. So dabble in Week 15 with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Now, you can combine same-game parlay bets with other bets. You can do all of that in the top-rated app because however you want to play, just bet on the NFL this Thursday night with a same-game parlay. Just sign up with promo code ZONE if you don't already have an account. That's promo code ZONE. If you already have FanDuel, you're set. Just sign in and see what you got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. Refund issues non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Maximum free bet, $25. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
from the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have a couple of accidents to report, starting with one along I-680 near Dodge Street, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then there's also an accident to report near 127th and Q, so please be cautious if you are in that area as well. Then along L Street, be prepared for some significant delays from 96th all the way down to 53rd. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Through January 4th, 2023, enter non-winning Nebraska Lottery Holiday Wishes scratch tickets for a chance to win $1, $5, or $10,000. It's the Holiday Wishes Second Chance promotion, so enter today. Top prize odds vary by game.
Do you hear what we hear? Omaha Steaks has tons of jobs and hours. Right now, we're hiring for a variety of seasonal positions in our warehouses. Plus, all positions come with a great employee discount on food you can use all year long. To view available job openings and to apply online, go to omahasteaks.com/jobs or text steaks to 22633 to apply today. This holiday season, dash through the dough and earn extra cash working at Omaha Steaks.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
That would be a solid down payment on a home. Well, it would have been. I don't know what you need now. I'm never buying a home either. But in the old days, I bet that was more than John put down on his home when he bought it.
What was the $12 down payment like on your home, John?
It was not Tell me about the old days, Grandpa.
The only down payment we had on our house was how fast could I build it out of sod.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone.
Funplex has a limited time offer that'll deck your halls. The Funplex 'Tis the Season Pass Sale. Save big through Christmas and think warm thoughts as you and yours dream about sun, fun, sliding and chilling for summer of 23. Not only will you be saving $45 off the regular price, but if you're doing your holiday math, 3 visits and the pass pays for itself. Plus, there's always special offers to season pass holders on concessions, merch, and more. The Funplex 'Tis the Season Pass Sale. Now through Christmas at fun-plex.com.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory. Explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Halftime brought to you by Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street. Next to Cubby's, it's Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
All right, middle of the week, welcome in. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. There's Nick. You just heard from Jimmy. I'm Gary on 1620 The Zone. Next hour, Scott Chanley, his NFL segment, joins us at 9. Brandon Vogel coming up at 9:40. So far, 2 hours into the day, no portaling. Kevin Williams went into the portal yesterday off the Nebraska roster. So if I'm doing the math right, Nick, and you can check me on this, I think we're at 12 scholarship players. Would you take the total before it's all said and done, under 20 or over 20?
Under.
For players in the portal.
Oh, in the portal.
That will scholarship players off of Nebraska's 22 roster that will be in the portal.
Is that including post-spring wave?
Just total.
Total.
So it's all all total.
Taking the over. I'm hammering the over.
I would take the over as well. So Kevin Williams, who only played 4 games, got injured, has decided to move on. And he'll have one more year, which would be his 7th year. And I hope for him, he goes somewhere, gets away from Omaha, gets away from just can go and be free and easy somewhere, which is new to him,
Mhm.
and just can go and be Kevin Williams and find a way to finish out his football career. Uh, don't know. Last year was kind of choppy for him. He thought he was going to play right away. Didn't happen. Um, and when he got the opportunity, he looked okay. He did not strike me right off the top as a Big Ten offensive lineman. But you thought, is there something there to work with? But I think he wanted to play more. Did not play as much as he thought, and of course got injured. And we never know if the retention of Donovan Raiola, Kevin Williams just looking for a break to go somewhere else, and whether he was a Big Ten level offensive lineman or not, you all of a sudden in an offensive line room looking ahead to next year, and there are lots of needs for Nebraska. I mean, if you have a scholarship distribution chart up on your wall at the man cave, there are a lot of holes, and there are some scary holes, which just puts more emphasis on the rest of this week, finishing up with a weekend and trying to win some recruiting battles to make sure that you have some numbers in your class of 23. And then whatever happens between now and January 18th in the portal, going into spring, you would like enough bodies. But I would not be surprised if Nebraska at some point is working their way either up to the 23 season or during the 23 season, and your scholarship numbers are in the 60s. So I'm going over 20 as well. But now you're down to 9 scholarship offensive linemen.
Yeah.
9 scholarship offensive linemen. And before I hit the panic button, and this is a little bit with a guy like Kevin Williams or, other guys that have already departed. And Nebraska is aggressive with either Cornelius, the portal transfer from Rhode Island, who just was at Oregon, or they're trying to get in on a 4-star from Maryland. They're trying to get back in and get that conversation to see if they can get something before signing day. Is the curiosity going back to this year and the first year of Matt Rule, and why I use the word curiosity, Nick, is offensive linemen. So how many times last year did a portion of our discussion about the offensive line center around, it looks like every guy is running around with cinder blocks as shoes?
I would assume, I hope the majority. I can listen every morning, but I'd hope the majority.
It's like Kevin from The Office at the wedding scene. I mean, when he had Kleenex boxes as shoes.
And you're filling that with.
There were a lot of linemen that looked like they were running around with cinder blocks. So there's the curiosity part of, okay, there's 9 scholarship guys coming back, and some of them haven't had consistent careers at all.
Right.
They've had bits and pieces. Is what does strength and conditioning do to offensive linemen who we might be out on, and wonder what happened to your development before you ever get them back being coached by Donovan Raiola and Matt Rule? Is what is the strength and conditioning program and the adjustment on how they approach offensive linemen? How would that affect a guy like Kevin Williams? So that's why I think it's probably, it's just best to part ways, go somewhere, fresh start. I got 1 year to play wherever I go.
Yeah.
I'm probably not staying in the Power 5, but I hope for his sake he goes somewhere, gets away from here, goes a long way away from Omaha, can just be Kevin Williams. Good kid, but he has bounced around a little bit, with 2 different high schools. So I'm hoping his 7th year, it can be rewarding for him. But with 9 scholarship offensive linemen, the curiosity part is, what do those guys look like? Not how they play, because I'm not going to go all in, 6 months from now when they're playing in a spring game or however far April is. But what do they look like initially in the span of winter conditioning, so that they don't look like guys are wandering around the field that have cinder blocks on and they're bam, 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 bam. Instead of being fluid, which I expect this whole program to be built on speed, whether you're a big guy or small guy, and more explosiveness, not necessarily strength.
Fantastic Office reference, by the way. So you're basically filling up the Kleenex box with cement, is what you're saying with the offensive line, which is, and quarterback is going to be such a big talking point, especially given the decision that Casey Thompson has. It's going to get a lot of the headlines like it did last year, but everybody who has paid attention to this program over the last handful of years is going to look at the offensive line. I think the part of that topic that's probably not discussed enough, you hit it right on the head, and that is the development that we always talk that has really escaped that group It's starting now. It will start now. And now with a new strength and conditioning coach, now with an offensive line coach that initially you're like, wait a minute, what? Him? We're keeping him? But then you look a little bit more into it and you're thinking, wait, okay, maybe I could see why this is the case. And a head coach who also has some expertise with the offensive line. The development starting in winter conditioning, how these guys look, how they go into a new system of bettering not only their bodies, but their technique. And what type of steps are going to be more familiar to these guys and what are going to be a complete change. And how does that, you can only hope what it's going to mean come September. But that is the most critical part of this football program. In what I know some have gotten on board with this, but some still resist. A rebuild. That's what it is. It's a teardown. It has to be, especially with that group. It's got to be. And I get it. You can get transfer portal guys in that are a little bit further along in the process. But unless they've had direct connections with this coaching staff in its entirety, it's still going to be adjustment to those guys as well. So it's not like they're coming right in like, hey, I'm the guy. Just, follow my lead. That development, although boring, although something that we can't spend every day talking about because obviously we're not going to be privy to the information, it's huge. And it's a major part of it. And yes, the guys that remain, 9 scholarship offensive linemen, are they all looking at this, in kind of wait and see mode of, all right, what's going to be expected of me? What can I physically do to put myself in a position to contribute on this offensive line, to be on the 2 deep on this offensive line? Is the system going to be good for me? Does it play to my strengths? And so it's again why I look at that number that you laid out there, and I'm hammering the over of 20. I'm curious, the remaining offensive linemen, what they're thinking, what they want to do. And you're right to bring up Donovan Raiola, because we all assume, well, the offensive line was a dumpster fire this year. It looked completely unathletic and it just slow moving and just couldn't keep up. But I think there's a reason Matt Rule is keeping Donovan Raiola around. There's also the idea of offensive linemen saying not only going to be working with the offensive line coach, but also the head coach is going to be taking a more day-to-day interest in what we're doing. That can be very appealing. Matt Rule's not a dummy when it comes to what he wants to build this team off of, but what he knows is going to have to be a big part of that adjusting to the Big Ten and how you survive. And that's the line of scrimmage. So I think it is a very fascinating area to watch the development, even though we're not going to really see a lot of that in January and February. And it kind of comes back to what you're talking about last segment too, the curiosity, the intrigue of the spring game. I'm not saying, hey, you're going to see all you need to know in that development with this offensive line, but how do they do things? What's just some of the basic schemes compared to what we've seen in the past couple of years? It's monumental for what this team is and this program is going to do going forward.
All right, 23 past the hour. The other part of portaling, so volleyball is in town. The Final Four begins tomorrow. I don't know how much attention you pay to the portal in volleyball.
I got to admit, not
By
much.
the way, there's some key players out of the Big Ten. Like Nebraska got Horde from Penn State last year.
Yep.
Why does it seem in volleyball that if you're an older player, you are moved out pretty quick? So Nebraska is bringing in this incredible recruiting class, and they had a couple of their older players, Kubik and Knuckles, make a decision that they're not going to come back so that they can let the younger players play. Why in volleyball does it seem if you're older, and I'm talking like a junior or senior, you might be moved along unless you're like an All-American? Because there are some players I'm noticing in the sport of volleyball in the portal that are pretty good, but they're like seniors or they're like juniors. And you go, oh, one of the best players from Ohio State, she's moving on because they're bringing in the best recruiting class they've ever had. I don't know if that's a volleyball thing or not. There was just my curiosity yesterday when I was surfing the internet and saw that Ohio State had one of their top players in the portal. Because the adage is, get old, stay old.
Yeah.
But in volleyball, it doesn't appear to be that case.
And there's, I may maybe compared to basketball, college basketball, where you see sort of a youth movement, but it's, in my opinion, it's kind of stabilized a little bit. And some of the better teams you see, there is that good mix of veterans, upperclassmen, and then some very exciting talent, freshman, sophomore type of players. Volleyball, not knowing the ebbs and flows of how that works, of maybe what one program prioritizes on how they can be successful, win a championship compared to another that feels like they got to get young and they've got to begin that development so they can bring that entire class up. So by the time they're juniors, they're rock stars. Like, is that the thinking behind it?
I don't know the reasoning behind it. It just appears to me that some of the better players in that sport that are seniors, that are going to be seniors, are in the portal at really good programs.
I would
like Elite 8, Sweet 16 programs. So I don't know if it's in the volleyball when you have big recruiting classes, even if you have a really good player, you want to open a spot for the next 3-year starter before they move on.
Are you just losing that assurance? Are you losing that assurance if you're a really good junior or senior, losing that assurance from your coach that I've had a spot for you the last 2 years? I can't guarantee you that next year because we've got these hungry underclassmen.
I mean, that's probably a discussion that's happened in Lincoln.
No, I'm sure. Because they're going to continue to recruit like that. They're going to continue to bring in players that are at least 2 or 3 true freshmen are going to have a chance to be a consistent part of the lineup.
All right, we come back. It happened at the end of our show yesterday. Purdue made a hire. Think about the Big Ten West in a short amount of time, how it's changed with all 7 teams ahead of their last year together in the same division. We'll dive into that. Plus, if you're in the East Balcony and you've not heard, we're going to tell you that you're going to have a chair back. You're not going to have to spend that $5 on the chair that you affix to the plank. You're going to have a chair back. Some aren't super happy with this. I wouldn't be happy sitting in the East Balcony, by the way. I don't know why y'all sit in the East Balcony, especially in September.
Right.
Oof. I mean, you as a bald man, you sitting in the East Balcony in September?
I got the bucket hat on.
Oh, if you didn't and you forgot the sunscreen?
At SP70.
God bless you.
SP190.
Yeah.
It's just looking at when the sun is beaming down on them and you see like the real feel out there. You're like, oh,
hey, has anybody asked Matt Rule if Nebraska will switch sidelines? During the COVID year, Nebraska was on the press box side.
Mm-hmm.
That one year when there was nobody in the stadium.
I'm surprised they don't. I said this several weeks ago.
Well, this would it would seem like the time. But then, are you moving the students? You can put the students behind the I mean, there'd be people that would be upset if they weren't given a heads up because they bought tickets so they could sit behind the Nebraska bench, and all of a sudden they're on the opposite sideline. But when you ask Rule when he's going to hand out the black shirts, is this the appropriate time for Nebraska to change sidelines? To be on the press box
I want
sideline?
the students.
I thought you were going smock on this.
I want to move the students. Well, I've had for your little spring game dream. Kind of that goes with my student section, moving them, making them more part of the atmosphere, put them behind a sideline type of dream, which I hope we're getting closer to that, where you know exactly where the students are. And they are excited to be a little bit more part of the atmosphere too. That's my kumbaya on that one.
I mean, we're all trying step by step, brick by brick.
We're contributing. We're trying to contribute. We're doing our best.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on The Crossover.
If Purdue was open when Prime was looking for a job, you think he would have gone to Purdue?
Would he have changed it to Prime Do?
I don't think so, Nick. Look at John.
I don't think he would have been able to rename it Prime Do. You don't think so? Think there would have been some troubles there?
Chance says that Prime Do sounds like another one of Scooby's cousins.
I hope he's better than
Scooby, Scrappy, and Prime.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Getting chilly Wednesday. Expect cloudy and breezy conditions throughout the day. Southwest winds will gust 20 to 25 miles per hour. There's a chance for a few late afternoon and evening flurries with highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that accident along I-680 near Dodge Street, and that's going to be backed up all the way to Blondo, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then on Center, be prepared for some major delays from 192nd to 175th, and on Dodge, be prepared for a little bit of a slowdown from 94th to 90th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Join us in supporting Food Bank for the Heartland. Right now, if you donate 5 cans of food, you can get a furnace safety inspection and cleaning for only $55. Request service at justcallburton.com.
It's time to save during 42 Degrees Winter Sale with savings on premium kratom starting at $11.99, Delta from $7.99, and CBD starting at $9.99. Only at The Source. 42 Degrees. By your mom's house.
Creighton coverage on the Zone is presented by Berry Law. At Berry Law, we fight alongside those who choose to fight back. Call Berry Law at 402-999-7777 or visit BerryLawFirm.com. At Berry Law, we're in it to win it.
Unsportsmanlike conduct is on the road. We're live at Cross Stream Brewing this Wednesday from 2 to 6 for their 12 Jams of Christmas. They'll have 12 all-new brews all in one night. Join us for Unsportsmanlike Conduct this Wednesday, 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options, and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Cubby's supports the PACE program with Raise Some Dough. For every large pizza sold at Cubby's in the Old Market, Cubby's gives $1 to the Police Athletic League, serving at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children with athletic and educational programs. PACE has over 5,800 program participants. The league reaches kids that would not normally be able to participate in athletics like soccer and baseball due to financial situations and family dynamics. PACE wants to give every kid the opportunity at athletics and a healthy and safe environment. If you'd like to support PACE too, go to paceomaha.org.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, good luck to our friends over at Iowa Western. Tonight they play in the National Junior College Championship game in Little Rock, Arkansas. They take on Hutchinson. So it is a battle of two teams out of the Jayhawk Conference. They played earlier this year. Came down to the final play. 8 o'clock tonight on ESPNU. Of course, everybody knows Connor's producer, Josh Hodson, is the stat guy and a longtime stat guy.
Nice.
But good luck to Stroh and everybody with Iowa Western. Last year they got to the final, and a guy named Anthony Grant ran wild on them. And now they're back in the final for the second straight year. So you can watch it tonight. It is on ESPNU at 8 o'clock in Little Rock, Arkansas.
It's exciting.
What people will do for to be on TV to play at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night.
Yeah. Prime time, though, baby. Yeah, go Stroh, man. One of the best dudes out there. Consistent, as we talked about, too. Just a consistent guy, consistent program. There's a reason they won't do a Last Chance U on Iowa Western. It'd be boring, and that's good.
Oh, no. They won't do it because the head guy that's bad for junior college football.
Yeah, that's also true.
Do not bring that up with him. That is a sore subject with him about Last Chance U and what it puts on junior college football, because not every program is like that, and especially his.
Right.
We will see. There's a transition here. So the current Nebraska staff they've dabbled in junior college. Mickey said because of holes in the roster that they were going to go junior college, and then he backed that up by offers and attention. Already, Wallen, who I think that's going to be one of the better players in this class, in the Matt Rule portion of the 23 class, as you get him from the junior college ranks at an edge rusher. So they're not afraid to go into the junior college ranks. You know how Matt Rule would win the day is he gets a scholarship player from Iowa Western, not a walk-on, but a scholarship player, so we can stop having that conversation.
Oh, God.
But at least they have shown that they want to recruit junior college, and that's different. In the day and age of portaling, junior college players are getting overlooked more often. But smart football programs realize, okay, am I taking a portal guy who has been on the bench at Power 5, or am I taking a guy that's been grinding every day in a good junior college program that is grinding and building himself up to get that offer? That's the balance you have, whatever you're comfortable with. So it's good to see that this staff is going to explore all options, portal, high school, and junior college. But Matt Rule, you want to have another month of free drinks in Lincoln? Just get a scholarship guy from Iowa Western so everybody gets off your back, and make sure that the first game under your watch is sold out, so people don't have to talk about the sellout streak. You'll be fine. Before we dive into the sellout streak talk came back, we were about a 5 or 6 day run of nobody was talking about it until last night. Our resident, one of our resident volleyball experts, and I don't want to reveal his name, but just trust me, he would know.
Okay.
Because he is familiar with volleyball at an extremely high level. So I was asking, because I just passing through the portal yesterday, not personally, but from outside looking at volleyball. I know Ohio State really, really good. They have quite a few players in the portal, and they're older players. And I know they got a good recruiting class coming. So I'm thinking, man, is that the sport where you're here for a couple of years and then you're on? And he says all Ohio State players were fourth-year players. Now, COVID has really messed with everybody's roster, but we're kind of getting towards the end of that. And he brought up a good point. Smart women graduate in 3 years, and they go and get their grad degree elsewhere.
Yeah. I mean, there's that.
So you have
there's the school part of
the
it.
roster.
How dare we overlook the school part of it? Yeah, that's true.
But you also have to back it up with elite recruiting classes. So you're not losing talent and not replenishing it, even though they might be young, that they become that someday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point.
So thank you, volleyball expert.
Makes sense. There's logic behind it.
I'd started out the show this morning. Carlos Correa signed a big deal with the San Francisco Giants last night. He went 13 years, $350 million. And he bet on himself. When he left the Astros, went 1 year for the Twins, kind of bet on himself again. I mean, that's a no-brainer. He's 28 years old. He's one of the best shortstops in the game. So I like people that bet on themselves. It doesn't always work out. Hey, I bet on myself a couple of times in my life, like big bets. One of them was a complete failure. The other have worked out pretty well. But I like people that take chances. Okay, boring is terrible. Boring is awful. So you take risks, you take chances. Sometimes you bet on yourself when you're in the entertainment/sports business, and you say, "Hey, it hasn't been good around here in a while." Nebraska's essentially got one true bowl berth in 8 years.
Yeah, true. Thank you.
But I'm going to raise your ticket prices. Okay. We got a new coach coming. You don't know much about him. You're intrigued. But the results on the field, yeah, you're just hanging on. You're hanging on to those season tickets. Now, for our good friends over in the East Balcony, we are going to change the East Balcony. We're going to put in club seating. Now, we're not kicking you out of the stadium, but if you want to sit there, and club seating is nice, by the way. I mean, I'm not a real big bougie guy. You can tell how I dress, how I act, how I spend. But I like to, sometimes you like to be bougie. The club section at Nebraska is a very bougie area. It's a very comfortable place to watch a football game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about us fat guys, by the way, being rude to somebody else because you're taking their butt cheek on the plank, or it's just uncomfortable where your knees are in your stomach and we can't enjoy a football game. Okay. 100-year-old stadium. It's very difficult to enjoy a football game at Nebraska in normal people seating.
You don't even have to be obese. Like the numbers designated there, you got to be maybe even popping some two-a-days in there.
I mean, it's not a
slender.
It's not an easy place to get in and out of some
No,
spots of the stadium. It's not an easy place to watch the game. It's 100 years old. That's going to start to change. So they are changing the East Balcony. Now, I got a lot of response in the Equitable Bank inbox last night that is always open. I mean, not just 6 to 10. It's always open. People are like, well, I'm hearing Trev is changing my seats for the first time. So they're going to change that area to club seating, and you're going to get chairbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting from the Boy Scouts where you get to put it down on your
Right.
plank, which is still one of the great traditions that I hope they never end at Nebraska. Even if the whole stadium goes chairback, they've got to keep some like knothole seats that are planks that the kids can still sell those.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the kids still sell them. I haven't bought one of those in a long time. It was,
So, they don't do the balloons anymore, right?
I know that.
Okay, just making sure.
First time I ever went to
But the troughs are still there.
First time I ever went to a Nebraska game, and I saw that, and I'm like, what is that? And then you get in your seats, and you're like, dang, how come we didn't buy one of those, Mom?
Yeah, because by the middle of the first quarter, oh gosh, back.
But for people that, okay, so on one end, I give you the $100 discount on the 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium.
Mm.
Michigan, Iowa are the headliners of next year's home schedule. The rest of it is kind of meh.
Yeah.
But they're hoping that you'll get in, betting on themselves. You're not going to go away. We got a new coach. Don't know what's going to happen next year. Come on in. We're betting on ourselves that you're going to continue loyalty to Nebraska football, and we're going to give you a little bit of thing. So, but if you're in the East Balcony, it's changing. Now, they're going to give you an option to move somewhere else. Some people in the Equitable Bank inbox, again, would like some communication beforehand, before they hear it on the radio, that their seat might be going away. But you're going to have to bump up. What is it? I think the club seating in Lincoln is starts at $1,500. It's about double the price. I think it is.
You have to make a donation. On
Donations,
top of that.
let's see, between $750 and $1,500 per seat for a season. Current club seats, between $1,500 to $2,500.
So basically, you're doubling it.
Yeah.
But I wonder, because you're going to see, and Memorial Stadium is going to go under a transformation. It should. It's 100 years old. It has to. I mean, to increase revenue, but decrease availability.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're going in the entertainment. Okay. If I have less seats, I know there's going to be more of a demand. You're going to buy tickets quicker because you don't want to be shut out, but I can raise the prices. I mean, that's happening
You
all over
hinted
the
this
place.
a couple months ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works these days. So Nebraska is going to slice down the capacity. They're going to change the stadium over. It's going to be a long period of time, but it's going to be able to go into possibly squeeze another 100 years out of the old grandma on 10th and Vine. But I do wonder, for the people that are in that section of the stadium, and remember, very few places that you'd get fired up about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that means a lot to people that in their seats in the stadium that they've had for a long time, or where they sit, the comfortability, all of that. Is this something people were asking for? Because that survey that we all did, Nebraska's taking that seriously. I mean, they have an idea of what they want to do, and they're going to do regardless. But they were also very curious on what people thought. And then, hey, is it feasible to do that? I'm wondering if people that sit in that part of the stadium, and those are good seats. I mean, that's not a bad seat. Is that what you wanted? Is basically to go chairbacks, and then another step, let's just make it a whole club section. You might have said, yeah, I want chairbacks because I want chairbacks in the whole.
Yeah,
I want the whole chairbacks in the whole stadium.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're in my section only. So I wonder if that's what people that have seats there were clamoring for or suggested.
I think,
then it went from chairbacks to, you know what, we got it on the West, we got it on the East, it's popular, boom. And we'll find a place if you don't want to sit there anymore, where you're going to be relocated. And I would love to be in those conversations.
It was the first thing you mentioned. What was one of the most popular things during the survey, at least most talked about, was alcohol sales and chairbacks. We're simple people. We have simple pleasures in life. I want to be able to watch a football game with a seat back, and I want to be able to get a beer, not have to sneak one in, sneak some booze in. So I think it was the first part, like, okay, so you guys want these seat backs. We want to reduce, create more demand, charge a little bit more for that section. We're going to compromise here. We're going to give you we'll see your seat backs, but we need you to raise us the opportunity to reduce some seats and to raise a little bit of more money for those seats. But it comes back. You're still getting your seat backs though. So it's still a win for you. You've been heard. But
I don't know. My season tickets are on the east balcony, so
you haven't been heard.
I don't usually sit in my seats anyhow. So
I don't disagree with what they're doing. Now, the communication process of it, without fully knowing, because I know it was talked about how hard letters had been sent out about this.
But how many times do people check their mailbox around here nowadays?
Well, and if that's the case, if you're upset about it, and then
email, text, Trev.
Well, yeah, you do. But how many times do you open up that text from or that email from university? You're like, oh, they got some promotion going on. I always think that I can't go to the men's or women's basketball game this weekend. So
the emails that I don't get from the athletic department that are like official, I'm always fearful that I have an outstanding parking ticket or I forgot to return a book 25 years ago.
We'd like our diploma back.
Yeah.
What?
I'm sorry. We're going to have to retroactively take that. So, but yeah.
Can they do that?
No. Probably not. No, it's just, it's a scare tactic. Don't fall for it.
I mean, I still have the nightmare. I have to go take math again.
Hold on. They can't take back your diploma.
No.
Okay.
It's not Reggie Bush's Heisman.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's not like you have to vacate it because you have several unpaid parking tickets over by the admin building. One of the many. I don't know.
Just remember, you get one free one a year. Regardless if you're parking at Creighton, Omaha, Nebraska.
Those are pearls, by the way. You're giving to prospective students there.
I think that's well known.
Is it?
Yeah.
If you're a junior at West Side right now, do you know that? If you're considering Nebraska, like, oh, okay. You're not thinking about that yet.
No.
That's pretty big.
It's a life hack. It's a college life hack.
By the way, I do know this at West Side. If you park in the wrong place as a student, you will
get towed.
You will get a talking to.
By who?
The higher ups.
Okay.
Yeah, they take the parking seriously at West Side High School.
So when did this happen? When did you have that talking to?
Well, I just know that there's designated, like I think most high schools is designated like there's where the seniors park, where the juniors park, and then where the underclassmen, if you're old enough to have a license and you got a car.
Yeah.
And if you park in the wrong place, you're in trouble.
It's
a big deal. Like, and I can only speak for West Side. It's a big deal to finally be able to park in the senior lot because you're closer to the school.
Well, yeah.
And you can show up a little bit later.
So you've put in your time.
You don't have to fight for the parking spot.
You've shown your commitment to the high school. You put in your time.
But that's widely known that if you are on one of those campuses and you get a parking ticket, that you get one free one.
Yeah.
Or just call up the parking office and beg and
plead. Yeah. There's always a story.
Tell them you made a mistake.
There's always a story that I feel like they're going to give you a molly.
It doesn't even. It even says on the back of the parking ticket, right, that you get a free one.
It does. It's been a long time.
Or at least you're in their system where they don't give you an immediate parking ticket. They give you a warning. I'm not saying go like park and handicap or anything like that, but am I missing out on something? I thought that was the case.
I'm just trying to remember.
It's been a long time. I don't know if I've ever even read the back of it, to be honest with you.
Oh, I got a parking ticket when I was in Lincoln.
Yeah.
When I was in school, and I went before the committee. Because I'm
going to put the system on trial.
No, it was BS. Okay, I'm gonna let this out.
Yes.
Because I was coming out. First of all, I got my car towed a couple of times because I was unfamiliar with where you can and can't park. Like there were reserved spots that my tag didn't get me in that reserved spot.
But a couple of times
I made a mistake and I got towed. Yeah, and then another time I got towed because I just
didn't care.
Well,
I just didn't want to.
So I was coming back from a weekend. I parked in an alley. By the 1 year I was in the one semester I was in the dorms, and I forgot to go park my car, and I got towed because I went upstairs and I fell asleep. So yeah, I got a parking ticket, but here was the deal. So I was like 10 steps away from the meter maid, as I will still call them, and I said, "Oh, I'm here now." Like she had earmuffs on. She put the ticket on my car, and it was just like expiring. And I was livid.
She didn't turn to you and then put it on like.
Oh, she didn't listen to me.
Mike,
you know what she did? So she put the ticket on there, and I walked up and I go, "This is my car," and she just smiled and walked on.
Ooh, smug.
Why? Yes, it is.
Now it has a ticket.
So then I got upset, and I went to you can go to the parking committee, which is your peers decide if you should get the ticket or not. I was livid. I was like, I'm my own lawyer.
You have me picturing the Animal House scene where they have the little trial in there.
By the way, major mistake on my part. They take that serious.
Do they?
I walked in and I said, I shouldn't have gotten this ticket. And everybody just stared at me. They're like, and why? I'm like, I shouldn't have. And they're like,
your fate has been determined by a collection of your peers.
So then they didn't even tell me like what the
system
result
works.
was right there in front of me. They like, we will mail you the decision.
Oh, really? Did you get a hard letter?
Yeah. It said denied.
They take their job, so that's great. You don't want people that are just half-assing it on a committee.
But what a terrible job to have. Is you're writing parking tickets.
Well, there's that. I thought you were talking about the committee. That sounds kind of exciting.
No, they all look like fraternity and sorority people. And I was just
I wasn't far off.
I was just a 26th and W guy.
Well, back to the hard letter about this thing.
Back to the it's,
okay, all right. No, I'm trying to
Person-
throw a hard letter in
person
here.
that does parking tickets, what a miserable job. Like, you don't ever make people happy. I want to be in a job that makes people happy. Like this job, we make people happy. We make people happy, mad, and sad.
Yeah.
Like
emotion, all in one segment.
If you are the person that is pegged with writing tickets, especially on a college campus, you don't make anybody happy. Like
Well,
no
no.
one is happy to see you.
No, that's true.
They hate you, and they don't even know you.
How
What
do you
a
think?
miserable job?
How do you
to
think
have.
they've arrived to that job? How do you think that they've arrived?
Probably
at that
the
place?
first person that gets hired at, they're like the bottom person at parking services.
Do you think there was an emotion?
Nobody walks in and goes, I would like to write parking tickets on a college campus.
I'd like to meet that person if they do exist.
I've dreamt about this since second grade. I used to write pretend parking tickets.
I want to know more about you.
My mom was in parking enforcement at Harvard.
I come from a long line.
What do they call that when you're younger?
Like even working for the city.
You fill out that
Even
test.
though they get like these fancy vehicles, like some might even have segways that they go up and down checking.
Oh,
the
yeah.
partners.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and also nowadays everything is on an app,
right?
So you don't have to. But like on a college campus, what a miserable job. Nobody says, "Hey, here comes the parking person."
If you've ever filled out the occupational test and it says you need to be a meter maid, do you sort of give up? Do you just
I need to see the counselor right now.
Yeah, do you just like, come on. What question did I answer led you to believe that this would be my profession? I don't think that
They don't
it's
even give
ever
you an
come to
option.
that. No. You have me intrigued on how do you land on that? And you're probably right. It's like, well, hey, I needed a job. That job was open. So I took it. I have very
Sounds like a feature in the school paper that needs to happen.
I'm very even keel when it comes to my emotions. You can throw all you want to at me, and it's just going to bounce. I'm Teflon.
Yeah,
man.
I wouldn't want to do the job because you probably get so much crap.
Right. It's like being an official.
Like nobody is happy to see you.
Nope. That's when you put it that way.
And you probably got a quota.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Especially at the end of the month, right?
Yeah.
When everyone's writing out tickets.
And also, you have no ability to, haggle. Say, hey, I was here. Hey, I'm right here. They're like, nope.
But
As they
good
push the
ones-
button and the ticket comes out of their little computer system and
Yeah.
they put it on your window.
The
they
good
actually
ones
slip it.
should be,
They
though.
slip it into the envelope.
Yep.
I'm assuming you've been pulled over before you've gotten a warning. And you feel like, hey, you know what? Thank you, officer. No? Okay.
I've never been pulled over. Knock on wood.
Wow. Good for you.
Mhm.
I've gotten warnings in my day.
Oh, wait a minute. I was pulled over when I was back to college. Yeah. we all got
Well,
mipped. We all got mipped.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Mhm.
But anytime you do get out of some type of citation with just a warning, you kind of feel like, hey, thank you. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate you doing that. Can't meter maids be like that too? It's like, you know what? Technically, you were like 6-7 minutes over, but I saw you coming. You're good. Don't worry about it. Like there's the humanity there.
I mean, I think it's a terrible job, but I also think those people that are in that job, they probably hear every story imaginable.
Yeah. Where it just came down to, I just lost track of time.
How'd we get onto this?
We started about the seats.
Yeah, because I was talking about the hard letter and the
Oh.
communication of getting notified of the seat changes. And
This might be another
somehow-
one that goes in the greatest.
Yeah,
I mean, this has been a great day.
We clearly we reached into Gary's past. It triggered something, and you felt that you needed to.
I will
let us in on.
You've taken us
which
there.
I appreciate.
Not all college parking people are bad, because I had a little incident because I got a ticket that I should not have gotten last year
Mhm.
when I was away with Omaha basketball and where we used to depart from.
Yeah.
So I got a ticket, and I was angry because I saw the ticket at 3:30 in the morning when we got back from a road trip.
First thing you saw.
You know what I did when I got home? 3:42. I was calling parking services at Omaha to leave a message.
Oh, I thought I was hoping someone would answer the phone.
So I believe probably, I don't want to call the person the secretary, maybe an assistant called me back because I said, I just have a couple of questions. And she gave me the stock stuff. I said, hey, can I just talk to the director of parking services? She said, not available.
Of
And I
course.
said, how many times a day do you say that? So I became very much a smart ass, and I was wrong. Then I emailed the guy who runs, I don't know if he's still there, at Parking Services at Omaha. We had a fantastic conversation. Yeah.
Is he a fan?
He took care of it.
Okay.
That was like a $25 ticket.
Oh, we were talking about university emails.
Oh, there we go.
When you get the promo, and he said you get a little bit itchy and scratchy because you're worried they're going to take away your diploma, or you got to not going to take away your diploma, but they got a parking ticket that still hasn't been paid, and they could retroactively take away something.
I don't know if there's any like positive conversation about parking on a college campus. Because look,
Unless you get the money spot.
You've got, no, but still, how much is that costing you?
Well, yeah.
How many people say parking on a college campus at Omaha, Creighton, or Nebraska in Lincoln go, you know what, that $450 a year and $70 a month that comes out of my paycheck if you're an employee there. That's great. I love that. That's a convenient thing.
Oh, I can tell you positive stories, though. When we're stalking people going into their cars over by the library at UNO, when I had to go, find parking there. And all of a sudden, as you didn't even have to spend more than 30 seconds, like you're just pulling into the library. And it just so happens that someone is leaving. You weren't sitting there like for 15 minutes stalking an area. Like that's a parking story win. That's when you know it's going to be a good day.
I never knew what that was until I got to like middle of my freshman year, figuring out, why do people just go and sit in a parking lot in their car?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, they're watching people come out of class.
It is kind of creepy too, because you assume that's what's happening, but there could also be that seedy person.
I don't have that patience.
Like, you got a minute and a half.
All right, Scott Shanley's going to join us here in a little bit to finish up this segment. Chad the Cop says, my dad and I have had tickets in section 101 for 30 plus years. So this affects him. We moved seats every year until we got to 101. I think that's one of the best kept secrets in the stadium. Great seats.
101.
Those are good. Those are good spots. But some people will say, okay, if I'm in the east balcony and now all of a sudden I'm on the goal line, do I really want to pay? Do I want to go somewhere else or pay to have a chair back? But the club seating on the west side, I can tell you, is nice and convenient. And I've never heard anybody that said, no, this is a bad spot.
It all comes down to how much you value lumbar support. Okay.
Do you pay up to have a permanent chair back, or do you keep paying? And I know I'm wrong here. I keep saying the Boy Scouts because I haven't bought one of those in a long time. I'm just going to buy the chair.
I mean, buy the chair.
There's some places where they do have that permanent. Like you as a season ticket holder can have a permanent like chair back seat.
I think Austin.
Iowa City has that.
Yeah. I think
Lawrence has that.
Pretty sure Texas does.
Yeah.
You're a season ticket holder. You can upgrade and you have a permanent chair back seat right there instead of buying the little.
Yeah, because you can always tell when you go to
stadiums,
empty stadiums, you can always tell the season ticket holders are buy the chair backs because they're permanently there.
When I bought my Liberty Bowl tickets, they asked me if I wanted to do that. And I was like, no.
Something I never heard that.
Liberty Bowl.
Figured that out here on the show today. Somebody on the show says I bought my Liberty Bowl tickets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good on you.
Oh, yeah. We're driving down there. I can't wait. Big old reunion.
You are so happy that Lance Leipold wanted to stay in Lawrence.
Happy.
Christmas
miracle.
I was almost thinking the Independence Bowl. I was going to say Shreveport's beautiful, but that's not.
Where do you think Trev and Lance met when Trev drove down to Lawrence?
The rumors are Lance's house. Came, stopped by.
Okay. All right.
Had a nice conversation.
Hey, the Leipolds love Lawrence, and I hope Lawrence loves them back.
Oh, and it seems like they sold out of their allotment, and they even asked for a second allotment, and that sold out. So good on them.
It's good.
Good deal.
Mhm.
KU football.
Back and better than ever.
They play Illinois next year in the non-con.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? A couple of years
Ooh.
ago, you thought that would be like the KU Rutgers series.
Right. That's like, yeah.
Now it'd be a very interesting
Some
game.
juice there.
Yeah. All right, Scott Chanley, Brandon Vogel in the last hour of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. All right, where there was a lot of juice, as Nick was alluding to, is Woodhouse Buick GMC. Because as they wrap up this season, the 23s are in full effect, whether it be the GMC Acadia or to those capable trucks. You can shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first and experience the difference. Their large indoor showroom. Yep, you don't have to go outside. 119th and I. It's got all the new and pre-owned inventory, stylish SUVs, trucks, vehicles, everything for you. They streamline the process either in person or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Find the vehicle that helps you stay warm and safe this winter from Woodhouse Buick GMC, 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
College basketball season is heating up, and when you need tickets to check out your favorite team, ticketsforless.com is always my go-to spot, whether it's in Omaha or Lincoln or elsewhere. Creighton, UNO, the Huskers, any other team, ticketsforless.com has the best selection of tickets, and you never pay the outrageous per-ticket fees that you see on other sites. Yeah, that's right. Those outrageous per-ticket fees, not with ticketsforless.com. Plus, when you use the promo code THEZONE at checkout, you get a special discount just for being a loyal listener. That's promo code THEZONE. So lock in your seats and save with that promo code at ticketsforless.com.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wages up to $20.10 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply at the Holiday Inn Blair Monday through Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and the Florence City Hall Thursday and Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for on-the-spot interviews. Unable to attend? Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
If you think you're having transmission problems, you need a specialist, someone who can and will tell you exactly what's wrong. At Omaha Transmission, that's what we do. Some places just want to sell you a new transmission, but at Omaha Transmission, we make repairs that other shops can't or won't. Giving you options is what's kept us in business since 2005. We've even had people hear our ads, bring in their car, and experience the exact same scenario they heard. There is a place that will diagnose and fix your transmission. That place is Omaha Transmission.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duct Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
Thank you to everyone who voted for MD West One in the Best of Omaha contest. We are thrilled to announce MD West One has been named the #1 private medical practice in Omaha for 4 years in a row. MD West One is also named first place in the orthopedic surgery and neurosurgical spine surgery. Our 34 board certified surgeons specialize in treating every bone, joint, or muscle condition from head to toe. Go to MDWest1.com to meet the #1 place to go for orthopedic, neurosurgery, and spine.
Here's this week's Maverick Minute. The Omaha Maverick women's basketball team made the most of their only home game in December by downing the College of St. Mary 84-34 last Sunday. The Omaha hockey team was blanked for the first time this season last Saturday night, losing to Colorado College 1-0. Omaha hockey will be back in action on December 30th and 31st for the final 2 games of 2022. And that's your Maverick Minute on your home for the Mavs. News Talk 1290, 1180 The Zone, and 1620 The Zone.
Guys, 2022's been a roller coaster year, so spoil her this Christmas by giving her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all. With soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas, exclusively from Pajamagram. Sensuous and smooth, naturally nude pajamas feel just like her own bare skin, even more alluring than lingerie. The texture and touch of these pajamas is so seductive that you'll both love the feel of them. She'll love the feeling of wearing next to nothing at all, and you'll love the way they look. Best of all, Pajamagram does the wrapping for you with free gift packaging. Order today, and Pajamagram will also include a free matching Naturally Nude nightie with the purchase of Naturally Nude pajamas. That is free gift packaging and a free Naturally Nude nightie when you order today. Just go to pajamagram.com. It's fast, easy, and delivery by Christmas is guaranteed. That's pajamagram.com.
Hey, Olivia, what do you think when you think of Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe?
I think, can we go now?
Jones Bros is famous for award-winning cupcakes. Our cafe is delicious for breakfast and lunch, too.
Try French macarons.
And our light bulb boba drinks.
And our ice cream.
And our coffee and lattes.
And our croissant donuts.
We cater, too. Come see us at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village.
Come on, let's go.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that accident along I-680 near Dodge Street, and that's going to be backed up all the way to Blondo, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then on Center, be prepared for some major delays from 192nd to 175th, and on Dodge, be prepared for a little bit of a slowdown from 94th to 90th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Help someone on your Christmas list get their Fernando's fix with Fernando's gift cards. Buy $100 and get a $20 gift card for yourself. Only at 75th and Pacific or 114th and Dodge. Hurry, offer ends soon. Feliz Navidad from Fernando's. FernandosOmaha.com.
Woodhouse Mazda and Woodhouse Place Mazda are the Omaha Metro's exclusive Mazda dealers, conveniently located in Bellevue or in Millard off 144th and Giles Road. You can shop, finance, and buy your next Mazda SUV or sedan your way. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you to your next vehicle, and our full service department is there for you when your vehicle needs maintenance. Visit us at woodhousemazda.com or woodhouseplacemazda.com to learn more.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Kugler Vision. If you have money sitting in your flex plan or in your health savings account, it is time for an early holiday gift for yourself. I am talking about LASIK with my friends at Kugler Vision. Visit their website today, kuglervision.com. Let them know that you are sick of bad vision and you are ready to see if you qualify to have one of their 7 vision correction procedures. 402-558-2211 or online at kuglervision.com.
Creighton Sports Update.
Creighton women's basketball is back at DJ Sokol Arena this Saturday as they host Arkansas. Tip-off is set for 1 p.m. All fans who wear an ugly Christmas sweater to the game will have a chance to win great prizes. Limited tickets are available at gocreighton.com/tickets. That's gocreighton.com/tickets. That's Creighton versus Arkansas Saturday at 1 p.m.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Here's a little Christmas tip. Never ask Santa for adult beverages. Seriously, can you imagine the legal implications of carrying quality, locally brewed Nebraska beer or cider while flying a sleigh? So if you want your family and friends to gift you some Nebraska brewed awesomeness, ask and ye shall receive. Your local Nebraska Brewers Guild wants you to know that local brewers are currently working on special seasonal brews to make your holiday get-togethers merry and bright. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Last hour on a Wednesday. That means we welcome in Husker Super Bowl champion Scott Shanley. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Hey, I want to jump into this the first thing here. Mike Leach passing away yesterday, and all of the stories that have been told about the Mike Leach quirkiness, and then about his football acumen. And you played on a couple of Nebraska teams that faced Mike Leach. The first year was the Thumpin' in 2000. If I remember in 01, that was a very competitive game. I remember Wes Welker housed up a punt, and it was 7-0. But what was it like? And you've kind of you've seen this in your football career. What was it like preparing for the Mike Leach air raid offense at Texas Tech? What did you guys do on defense during that week? If you remember.
I remember it vividly. I mean, a lot of people are sharing their stories about the passing of Mike Leach, and he was one of the greatest innovators football's ever seen, especially college football, and it trickled down to high school. And there's Mike Leach influence everywhere in football, and a lot of it started with those couple of games that you're talking about. I remember the year we went to Lubbock and we beat them pretty bad. But that was the first time I saw these big splits by linemen, these 4 wide receiver sets. We called it, our coaches kind of laughed at it, called it basketball on grass. And we beat them bad just because we had better players than they did. Mm-hmm. But the next year when they came in, it was the second year of that system that we'd seen it, because really it wasn't that popular in college football at the time. And yeah, Wes Welker had a punt return, and it became a lot harder the second time. I just remember when we went to Lubbock, we were just a lot better than them. And when they came to Lincoln, it was a challenge. That offense was a chore. It just felt like everything you did, they had an answer for. And you go back to Mike Leach. He helped Bob Stoops get that offense going at Oklahoma, and Stoops won a national championship running concepts of the air raid. And you go back further than that to Tim Couch at Kentucky when Mike Leach was there. Tim Couch set all sorts of records. So I just think Mike Leach, what he did. I don't think it's too far to say. A lot of people talk about Bill Walsh in the NFL and what he did for the West Coast offense. And I think that's the same type of thing Mike Leach did for the air raid offense. It's everywhere because of him.
Scott, how difficult, and again, going back to Gary's question about sort of the preparation, your normal concepts as a linebacker and what you would have seen in regular Big 12 competition compared to that style, and where you're mainly in coverage as opposed to, because they had really no running game, right? I mean, it was the short passing game that essentially served as their running game, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They threw the ball. They threw the ball to the flat. They threw the wide receiver screens, the bubble passes, all those things that you didn't see week in and week out. I mean, when we went through spring ball, we faced Nebraska's offense. It was triple option offense. You were going to bang your head against a fullback or a guard every single play. Same thing really in the Big 12 at the time. A lot of teams ran, Missouri ran a pro-style offense, and really that's what a lot of other teams ran, is a pro-style offense. But then along came Texas Tech, and they had these linemen had huge splits. The wide receivers were standing 1 or 2 yards away from the sidelines, really spreading your defense out. And that was the first time as a linebacker you felt stressed about having to cover sideline to sideline. Everybody else tried to get north and south on you. And there were other teams that tried to get wide, but really Texas Tech made you defend the entire field. And so as a linebacker, if you could cover, and that was probably one of my strengths, is I covered the tight end a lot, covered backs a lot. So it wasn't that big a deal to me. But if you were a guy who just liked to play downhill and thump in between the tackles every single play, Texas Tech exposed you. And I think that's why you really saw that offense take off in college football, is because you felt like you had better athletes on the offensive side of the ball, and you exposed some of the defensive players.
Yeah. So the 0-1 game, let's be honest, you guys were overlooking Texas Tech because Oklahoma was the following week.
Yeah, that was probably a big reason why. But I think, if I remember, because you talk about Wes Welker, every time I think about what he did in the NFL, I think back to that play. Like, that's when you first saw Wes Welker emerge, and I remember covering their tight end and covering their slot receiver down the field. And just like I said, a lot of concepts that they ran in that offense. I mean, most offensive coordinators have this huge, this Waffle House menu that they're calling plays off of, 1,000 plays. And Mike Leach just standing over there with a 5x7 card. And it's just like, how does he have an answer for everything we're doing off a 5x7 card? But that's what's built into their offenses. They're always trying to make you wrong with the option routes.
Yeah, I remember one of the first questions that night after the game to Coach Solich was Texas Tech, because Cliff Kingsbury was the quarterback. How can a guy drop back 63 times to throw and you guys don't sack him at all? I was like one of the first questions, but that was that offense, that quick game that, I mean, if he was 33 of 63, so there were 30 incompletions, but that had to be frustrating as a defensive player when you play the air raid or air raid or anyone that has a short passing game is you can't get to the quarterback.
That's exactly right. And that goes with your question earlier about the running game. The running game was really non-existent. What really hampered that offense is when they got into 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, and they didn't have a running game. But what they did was, you don't have sacks when they throw the ball 60-some plays, because that means he's getting it, and it's almost like hot potato. You're getting rid of it so fast. And all these flare passes, these wide receiver screens, all they are long handoffs. So you're getting credit for it in the passing game as a quarterback, but really they're just long handoffs, and that's really what that offense was.
Scott, I want to get your thoughts. I'm just looking at this latest NFL clinching scenarios right now, and I want to just kind of zero in on the NFC, because for me this has kind of changed week by week, where we know Philadelphia is already in, Dallas can clinch a spot with various scenarios. Minnesota can clinch the division. They could have last week with a win against Detroit straight up. And San Francisco, there are teams, it almost seems like every week you can make a pretty strong case. Okay, this looks like the team that could represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I want to get your thoughts on San Francisco right now, given their quarterback situation, yet what they're able to do around Purdy and this defense. If Purdy has to hold it down for another couple of weeks or so, I mean, is this still the team that once they get Jimmy Garoppolo back that maybe poses the biggest threat right now, or is it somebody else in the NFC in your opinion?
No, I really think if Jimmy was still there playing healthy, I think the 49ers probably would have been my pick to come out of the NFC, just because they're very well coached. They're physical. They have a great defensive line. They're physical on the offensive side of the ball. Christian McCaffrey. All those things play well in the playoffs, and I really felt like they would have came out of the NFC. I just don't think with a rookie quarterback I can think that they're going to go on the road somewhere and play consistently enough, because you have to throw the ball. At some point in the playoffs, you have to be able to throw the football. I just don't know if he has the experience to do that. They can play great defense, but you have to be able to win playoff games with the quarterback position. And even if Jimmy comes back, I don't know how healthy he's going to be. I think once that injury took place, I really vaulted the Dallas Cowboys up into their position. I think the Dallas Cowboys became a team because they play great defense. They have a running game. They have good pieces on their offensive side. I think they pose the biggest threat to Philadelphia as far as getting out of the NFC now.
Scott Shanley joining us here on Mornings with Sharp and Handley. You know him well in Dan Campbell, and what he has done at Detroit to turn things around from a 1-6 start, where Week 15 against the Jets actually means something for the Lions. But he's a character who you can tell that his players love him, and is somebody that knows him. Do you believe what he said yesterday, that he was focused on the wave, it was distracting him, that he didn't hear the call, and all of a sudden he looks up and they're running a trick play? Do you believe that story from Dan Campbell?
Kind of, I do, a little bit. I was surprised he said it, because as soon as you lose a game, everybody's going to say, you automatically, you're a lightning rod. Well, maybe he was watching the wave. That'll be everyone's excuse why they lose games from here on out. But I think Dan is just honest. I really think Dan says what he feels and what is true to him. And he probably, listen, we're all human. I can completely relate with him. In a game where you're supposed to be locked in and tied in, there'll be something that distracts you, and most people just don't admit it. But Dan Campbell, he has no problem admitting it, and probably easier to admit it when things are going well and you're winning. But I do believe it. And Dan is authentic. I think that's what players gravitate towards, and I think that's why teams play so hard for him. Anybody who watched Hard Knocks, they saw the tough guy, the former player in him. But the thing that makes players play hard for Dan Campbell is there is not an ounce of fakeness to him. It is all authentic, and I think players rally around that, especially knowing he was a former player. I think that makes it easier too.
Scott, if you have to go through, and speaking of Detroit, if you have to go through Detroit or Green Bay at this moment to get to the postseason, who would you rather face right now between those two teams?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because, normally you would always go with the quarterback and you would say Aaron Rodgers. Right. Green Bay has not looked good all year. And so I think they are who they are. I don't think they're just automatically going to turn this switch on and they're going to look like Green Bay from the last 2 years where they won 13 or 14 games. I just think they are what they are right now. They need a reset after the season and head into next year. I think Detroit, if anybody's watched Detroit, who would have ever thought this is the NFL's dream, that there's a meaningful game between the Jets and the Lions? Because the NFL wants every fan base to have a hope every single year that their team has a chance to win. And so here the Jets and the Lions sit. The Lions are a really good team. They are. Jared Goff is playing some really good football. Mark Brunell, a former teammate of mine, is a quarterbacks coach. He's doing an outstanding job with Jared Goff. They have a really good coaching staff, but the one thing that Detroit's doing really well is they are playing more physical than they had. I still don't think they're as talented as their record. They have some pieces they could probably add to their team still, but I just believe that they believe, and that's part of it. Is you getting belief in your locker room that you are no longer the same old Detroit Lions. We went through it in New Orleans. We had to win. We won enough games. We said, you know what? We're not the same New Orleans Saints. We're not the Aints. We're not the team that people showed up to games and wore brown bags on their head. So I think that's where the Detroit Lions are. They believe now.
Hey, there are some teams that don't believe, and they're going to make coaching changes. Let's bring this conversation back to Cliff Kingsbury. Do you think he survives in Arizona, even with Kyler Murray going down with the injury the other night?
I do. I think because now he has an out. I think now that Kyler's gone, they can lose every game for the rest of the year, and they're going to say, well, we never had a chance to turn things around and to show that we could win some games, the last 4 games, because Kyler was gone. So it's almost like a built-in excuse. And the other reason I think he survives maybe another year at least is I didn't realize he signed through 2027. Yep. The GM did a great job of getting himself and his coach signed while he could. And it's hard to walk away, especially there are cheap owners throughout the NFL. The Bengals owner has been known for that. The Arizona Cardinals owner has been known for that. I doubt he's just going to eat, the 4 years left on his contract. I think he'll probably make him coach another year.
Scott, again, kind of looking at the way that the NFC is sort of shaken out. I want to kind of a similar question on the teams that you do believe in. I want to get your thoughts on Minnesota because I'm watching that game against Detroit, and as I was impressed with Detroit and what Campbell is doing there, and you mentioned Jared Goff and the kind of season he's having right now. There are times I watch Minnesota and say, okay, yeah, I like this. Hard not to with Justin Jefferson, but there are other times when I watch that secondary. They seem like they could be a bit of a vulnerable spot and maybe a little bit of a liability when it comes postseason. When you look at the way Minnesota is built right now, is that a team that you do feel is built for playoff success?
I don't. I think Minnesota is one of those teams where every time they're playing on TV or you're checking the standings and you say, how the heck have they won that many games? Because every time I watch them, I marvel at their record. Like they found a way to win a game in Buffalo a few weeks ago. It was a great game. Justin Jefferson, he is an awesome player. And I think that's why everybody thinks that Minnesota has a chance. The problem is you need your quarterback to play at an elite level all the time. And Kirk Cousins is a really good player. I'm not a Kirk Cousins hater. I think he doesn't play his best games in the biggest moments, but his consistency level, I think there's a lot of teams that would like to have Kirk Cousins on their team over their current quarterback. But to your point, I don't think Minnesota's defense, their secondary is good enough. They're not consistent enough. Offensively, they have weapons. Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, those are some players that everybody in the NFL would want. But you have to play great defense football, and I just don't think their defense is good enough to go very far in the playoffs.
Hey, we'll finish on this on a little bit of football porn here from a Chiefs fan and just love seeing something of execution. I keep watching over and over. Chiefs ran a screenplay the other day against Denver, and Trey Smith, who I think was a great pickup. I know why he fell in the draft, but the Chiefs had a great pickup, and he's turned into an excellent guard. And there's a play that they score a touchdown on where he throws his man aside that's in front of him, and then he gets out in the screen game and blows up another guy. Kansas City is so good at running screens, and it can't just be they have Patrick Mahomes. But walk me through the process of why teams can execute a screen, because we see in the fall here in Lincoln, you know this, Nebraska for the longest time has had trouble just executing a screen. Why are teams good at a screen game? And on defense, how do you blow up teams that are really good and that's one of their staples?
Yeah, first off, as a defense player, I hated teams that ran screens because teams that run screens, it's a way to slow you down defensively. Defensively, you're trained to play 100 miles an hour to the whistle, fly around full speed, and screens make you hesitate a little bit. And so, I've said for the longest time, teams that can execute screens and the good teams that can do it, it's because they pose other problems offensively that you're really not thinking about defensively. And you have to have timing, the timing of what you're executing in the screen game, because you can run a million different types of screens. You can be the running back, can be the tight end, can be the wide receiver. And all those different screens take different timing that you have to execute throughout the week in practice. And I just think a lot of coaches and teams don't really want to waste the time with those full speed execution and reps because it takes a lot of reps. But I do think the screen game in the NFL, especially now, a lot of people forget that, as a DB, you can't go down and cut these guys, these big linemen who are pulling out in space. You have to take them on. I think the screen game there's a huge advantage to running it. And I do believe that the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL at doing it right now. And they call enough of them that they're executing them well.
Scott, appreciate the insight. Have a great week.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
So Scott Shanley joins us every Wednesday. Talk a little NFL. I got this on repeat here. I don't know if you saw this. And Chiefs beat the Broncos for the 14th straight time.
Yeah, I know that.
Trey Smith just obliterates, I think it's 31 Simmons, just obliterates him when he gets out. He throws the man in front of him aside.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and then he blows him up. This is the McKinnon touchdown.
Thank you, Jared.
Not the Mahomes flip, but the screen they ran inside of the 20. See, there you go, Matt Rule. Hey, Matt Rule, here's a couple things you got to do. One, get a player from Iowa Western.
Yep. On full Scally.
Well, this is more for Marcus Satterfield.
Full Scally.
Yes. Yeah. Not a walk-on.
Yeah.
Get somebody who everybody else in the country wants. All right. So you'll people are like, all right, I like this Matt Rule guy. Marcus Satterfield. You want to impress people and go, okay, somehow in the Minnesota game next year, if you're on your play sheet, Nebraska runs a screen game and it runs well.
Successful, yeah. It's even when it starts to develop, people start going, oh, God, this is going to look bad.
Well, then you just stop running it.
Yeah. No, but I mean, we don't even give it like the benefit of the doubt. Like even when you start to see it develop, you're like, are they really doing this? As opposed to, hey, this might work. It's like, oh my God, we're really doing this. Why?
It's one of those boom or bust plays. It's if it is executed really well and the timing is on, and you first of all you make the little pitch and catch and then you head upfield.
With blockers,
it is the boom. I mean, how many times do screens go? Now I'm probably just pigeonhole myself here. Screens are like at the line of scrimmage, or behind the line of scrimmage where you're going to get tackled. Now the defense might blow it up, but most you're getting positive yardage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's that initial wave. You're like, oh God, get through. Oh, they did. And then it's neat. But I mean, to your point too, how many of them go like a modest 4 or 5 yards?
unless you're Matt Patricia calling plays, which Mac Jones, it seemed like the other night for the Patriots that Mac Jones, every pass was either at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. And I don't know why they don't run play action in New England. Why Matt Patricia? Is this a Belichick thing just trying to prove a point? Why is Matt Patricia calling plays?
I did have a double take earlier in the season. I said, did I read that correctly? He's calling plays.
For anybody that's saying Tom Brady's going to play one last year in New England, you think he's just gone through the experience as Todd Bowles as his head coach. Right. You think he's going to go back to New England and Matt Patricia's going to be his offensive coordinator?
Oh, it'd be an amazing marriage. It'd be amazing.
Call up McVay and be like, hey, 1 year?
Matt Patricia's smarter than you. He knows it.
Let me ask you guys, are you guys surprised? So one of the things, this Fremont Fred called earlier, and we're in his fantasy football league. Worst $25 ever spent. But I'm not as aggressive in fantasy football anymore. I'm more gambling. By the way, shout out Argentina. I can't give you a pick for France and Morocco today because Morocco scares me. But France, Argentina in the World Cup final would
Saw
be
Messi
crazy.
Did well yesterday.
He had a goal and assist. His assist was better than the goal. His assist will go down as one of the better plays in the incredible career of Messi. Word. There you go. There's their soccer moment.
Word.
And I did not expect. I thought 1-0 or 1-0. They thumped them 3-0 yesterday. But France and Morocco played today. I can't give you a pick because I'm not.
You're not touching that.
You're not locked in on that. Okay.
No. But from football, I went more away from fantasy to more gambling.
Yeah.
But I have gone all in on elimination pools.
Okay.
Suicide pools.
Yeah.
Where you get one team per week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I lost my team in week 4. I was angry. Does it surprise you? Because I looked on the league I'm in, but ESPN, there's still 1,000 people that are alive of like 4 million people on ESPN's eliminator pool.
That would be way more than I would have thought.
Because there have been some significant upsets of heavy favorites this year in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised there's still 1,000 people.
The first month alone was, I almost wanted to chalk it up to, is the NFL just bad this year? Now it's starting to kind of restore a little order, but that first month alone was like, what the hell are we watching?
See, I think I'm out on fantasy. I think I'm done with fantasy after this year. I think I'm going to focus on.
You say this every year?
I'm going to focus on gambling. I'm going to focus on a suicide elimination pool. And then I'm also in another contest, a 33 contest.
What's a 33 contest?
So everybody gets a team per week, and your initial buy-in. And if somebody ends up with 33 points, then you win the entire pot.
Really?
Yeah. And if there's nobody that gets 33 points that lands exactly on 33, it rolls over to the following year. Yeah, it's because very rarely does somebody score 33 in the NFL.
Yeah. Huh.
So I think that's where I'm going to focus. I'm out on fantasy.
Interesting.
But I was really surprised. 1,000 people are still alive.
Yeah, that is very surprising. Way more than I thought.
And the card this weekend is, that's okay.
Well, I thought last night, thought of you because we've talked about this with the schedule. You got a game on Thursday. You have 3 on Saturday, 1 Sunday night, 1 Monday night. It's like, who the hell is even playing Sunday? You have like 4 games?
Hey, we have a barn burner. If you like totals, Rippin against McCoy.
Ooh.
Denver and Arizona.
Oh.
Will either offense get to 19?
It's going to be the second time this morning I've used the word sexy, but that is sexy.
Different content.
I don't think that's what Mr. Sue said in the Big 12 championship game, that Colt McCoy was sexy.
Is he starting to live the backup life, like the charm backup life
so
with a lot of money?
So he teases you. He has it down to a science.
Yeah.
He teases you for like a couple of weeks that he's going to win a game and he's going to put up a big performance.
Yeah.
And then he becomes Colt McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Turn into a 15-year career.
That's how you keep getting the money.
But like Monday night, he tried to prove right away that he's like a starting quarterback in the NFL.
That's 2008 again.
Yeah, and then it just was an abomination of the Cardinals offense.
Yeah. Question though, where's AJ McCarron these days?
TV, maybe?
No, last time I checked, wasn't he with the Raiders?
He was on a roster.
Okay.
I don't know if he's still with the Raiders though.
He may not be with the Raiders. He may be out of football.
Yeah.
Hold on here.
Is he with the SEC Network?
SEC Network's ready. Come on down.
Is he joining Jordan Rodgers?
He has not played in a game since 2020.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd played for a long time.
AJ McCarron's thrown 174 passes in the NFL.
Probably
Cincinnati,
150 more than he needed to.
Cincinnati.
Good work if you can find it.
Oakland, Houston.
Okay, so he did go to his last stop was Houston.
Like everybody's got to make a stop there
As long as he's still married to Catherine Webb, he's fine. He's doing fine.
Yeah, they have a growing family.
That's good.
I think one of their kids is named Brent.
He's got.
I was hoping
he's got to be on the SEC Network. He has to be.
Why? Because he's good looking and he played in the SEC.
Yeah, he played in the SEC and he dabbled in the NFL. Yeah. Did Jordan Rodgers even play in the NFL?
I don't think so.
And do we know if they talk anymore? I mean, not anymore yet. Are they still estranged? It's not a shot at Aaron. I'm just always curious. I'm curious.
I don't believe they're going to Bucs games and sitting courtside. I believe that Aaron Rodgers has replaced Jordan Rodgers with Randall Cobb.
Yeah. Still can't chug a beer either. It's bad.
It happens.
Bad look.
All right, Brandon Vogel is still to come before we're out of here on a Wednesday at 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
It's a different defense. It was originally designed for teams that had smaller defensive linemen and didn't have a lot of depth. Joe Lee Dunn was the one who invented it, and one of his staff members was Rocky Long. Long, of course, would become the head coach at New Mexico and San Diego State. One of his stops was UCLA, where he recruited a linebacker by the name of Tony White.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from a Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Getting chilly Wednesday. Expect cloudy and breezy conditions throughout the day. Southwest winds will gust 20 to 25 miles per hour. There's a chance for a few late afternoon and evening flurries with highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. On 1620 The Zone.
Let me get get you up to speed on the service that you need.
At Omaha Transmission, we don't have a warehouse full of transmissions waiting to be sold. We will diagnose and then repair or remanufacture your transmission. It's how we've always done it and how we'll always do it. Treating people the way that we want to be treated is how we do business at Omaha Transmission.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
If taking care of your parents' final affairs has taught you anything, it's that you don't want your kids to have to do it for you. Write this number down, 402-397-5880. That's the number to the law office of Christian R. Blunt. Chris Blunt can walk you through the creation of your own estate plans that include power of medical attorney, living will, joint living trust, and more. Your initial consultation is always free. Call the law office of Christian R. Blunt at 402-397-5880.
Here's this week's Maverick Minute. The Omaha Maverick women's basketball team made the most of their only home game in December by downing the College of St. Mary 84-34 last Sunday. The Omaha hockey team was blanked for the first time this season last Saturday night, losing to Colorado College 1-0. Omaha hockey will be back in action on December 30th and 31st for the final two games of 2022. And that's your Maverick Minute on your home for the Mavs. News Talk 1290, 1180 The Zone, and 1620 The Zone.
Unsportsmanlike conduct is on the road. We're live at Cross Stream Brewing this Wednesday from 2 to 6 for their 12 Jams of Christmas. They'll have 12 all-new brews all in one night. Join us for Unsportsmanlike Conduct this Wednesday, 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. It looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry. You can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style. And they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single time. Langfeld Overhead Door, 402-234-2700.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Make it a great fall season. Head to KuglerVision.com today to request a consultation.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, some sad news in the entertainment world. If you watch the Ellen DeGeneres show or you are on TikTok, you know of this individual. He went by Twitch. Stephen Boss is his name. He was the dancer. He was the DJ. He does a lot of stuff with his family on TikTok with dances, and he's extremely talented. It's just announced that he has passed away at the age of 40. He was found in a hotel in Los Angeles. No cause of death was given. The age of 40. Yeah, he's shown up on my For You page. He does all kinds of stuff with his kids and his wife in dancing. I mean, a lot of choreographed dances. He did that on the show. Dang it. The age of 40.
Yeah, I saw TMZ's reporting. Okay, it's TMZ. Not sure, but died by suicide. Self-inflicted gunshot. So, yes, that is not good news at all.
All right, Brandon Vogel from Hale Varsity will join us here shortly.
All right, it is the holiday season, and at Woodhouse Mazda, they remind you to get that peace of mind with all of your holiday travels with the safety that comes with any of Mazda's SUV lineup. Great options and sizes that will fit what you and your family are looking for. You will not find a smoother purchasing process, whether shopping at Woodhouse Mazda or Woodhouse Place Mazda. You get the confidence in the dealership that you will find you're looking for with no pressure sales, and that comes from 19 years of serving the community. Plus, at Woodhouse Mazda, the first year of maintenance is on them. There is also the convenience of financing and purchasing online at WoodhouseMazda.com or at WoodhousePlaceMazda.com. Shop now during the Season of Inspiration event. Visit Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue off of Highway 75 and Chandler Road, or Woodhouse Place Mazda in Millard off of 144th and Giles Road. And, of course, both locations have a full-service department. Happy holidays from everyone at Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Severe for Ted and Wally's, 2 locations, one in Benson, and of course the old one, you know it very well, down in the old market. I've been going to Ted and Wally's now for, it's over 20 years. When I first moved here, my wife took me, stood in line in the old market, and I remember it very well. It was a sweet corn ice cream, and I thought to myself, sweet corn ice cream? Well, I have to try this because I love corn, love ice cream, and it was amazing. It's just one of 3,000 flavors that Ted and Wally's has made over their more than 35 years in business. It's incredible. It's such a great place to go and just enjoy nostalgia. You have some old-fashioned flavors. You have some new flavors. They're always there to make it delicious for you. Call ahead to get a pint or a quart or a half gallon set up so when you drop over, you can just grab it, take it home, have it ready for just a treat at home or maybe for a holiday party. It's over 3,000 flavors. Check out our social media. See what the flavors are today. It's over 35 years of nostalgia at its finest, made in old-fashioned way in 100-year ice mountain freezers. Check out Ted and Wally's today.
Suicide can be prevented by knowing the warning signs. And most importantly, knowing what to do if you recognize those signs in yourself, a loved one, or even a stranger. There are simple ways you can be there for someone, so they can be here for more tomorrows. Visit moretomorrowsne.org to learn the signs, how to approach the conversation, and where to get help. Or call 988 for help now. That's moretomorrowsne.org.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up or keeping it up. Or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues, prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before, and chances are your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to 4hims.com/perfect. That's 4hims.com/perfect for your free visit. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duct Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
Give gifts from Greenberg's and receive a Shields gift card worth up to $500. Choose from stunning diamond engagement rings, anniversary rings, pendants, earrings, and more. It will be a perfect gift for both of you. Make a $500 purchase and receive a $50 Shields gift card. $1,000? Get a $100 gift card. $2,000? Get a $300 gift card. $3,000? Get a $500 gift card. Hurry into Greenberg's for this limited time holiday offer. Westroads Mall.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year, and business has never been better. We are rapidly growing and adding new customers, which means we need new route drivers and service technicians. We have new jobs for those new to the industry with little or no experience, and new careers that require knowledge in the coffee and vending world. There's a good chance we have just what you need in a new job. Host Coffee offers competitive pay and understands the work-life balance. Apply today at hostcoffee.net/careers and join our team.
Especially during the holidays, our time is precious. So when you make an appointment for service, you want things to run on time. For over 50 years, McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air has valued their customers' time with their on-time guarantee. Their technicians are licensed, properly trained, and drug tested, and have over 100 years combined HVAC service experience. See more at McCarthy's1hour.com. For heating and AC service, repair, and installation, trust the folks who are always on time, or you don't pay a dime. McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. McCarthy's1hour.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Now we'll circle back to Malachi Coleman coming up. Or Malachi Coleman. We're going to get to him in just a moment. Brandon Vogel, who we'll get him next Wednesday. Malachi Coleman yesterday announced that his next visit will be to Colorado, not to Michigan, which would seem to be a better football program than Colorado. He is a free agent right now, and so he's going to go out and see what Dion Yu has to offer on where he will decide where he's going to go to school. Now, he's not an early enrollee because he's going to run track, so he'll, it doesn't mean that he's signing on the 21st. Yeah. Maybe more likely in February, but he is going to go look at Colorado. And there are some people that are like, you know what? Let me know when you make a final decision. He would seem to fit in terms of some raw speed, length, more of the development of Nebraska and Matt Rule, but I don't think Nebraska, they laid out how they see him. And, if he goes to a place like Colorado, he might be choosing it for more than just football. But I know he's somebody who developed a long relationship with Mickey, and that's important to have somebody like him in his life as a mentor. And he's not there now, not at Nebraska, but short time to build a relationship if Colorado is your choice, because Tim Brewster just visited. You're going out and you're probably going to be on a recruiting weekend where you don't stand out. Yeah. There's a lot of other Malachi Colemans that are there. But he's somebody that's raw. He's somebody to me that is a boom or a bust. Somebody that in a wide receiver room that is thin at Nebraska, he would be a good addition, but it would seem of Matt Rule's track record with those kind of athletes that it usually pays off. So if he goes to Colorado, maybe more than just football. But we'll see. I was surprised he turned out Michigan, because Michigan trumps all those other two programs in terms of where you want to go to play big time football to get where you are going. But as Kurt just chimes in, said, just let me know where he's going when he signs. I'm good.
I'm curious on the Colorado, the red carpet that Colorado once rolled out for their recruiting visits and what they now do in primetime. Like what type of recruiting visit are you getting under Deion Sanders? It's going to be stepped up a notch or two. All right, that thing's going to be stepped up. But I think it's going to be really interesting because it was one thing to recruit to Jackson State, to Deion Sanders, and having now that elevated role in a Power 5 school, a school that, like Colorado, I mean, there's appealing things about Boulder, Colorado. My goodness, there are. But how that is going to go compared to what Deion and, the staff that he now has, what they were used to previously. And look, Deion is surrounding himself with reputable guys, but how is this going to go with players that are considered, top 300? Being able to sign, being able to recruit them, and what that success rate is going to look like now, because I think a lot of us are assuming it's going to be big. But I don't know if I want to completely buy into that until I see really the first couple of months of this, because you mentioned the February. I mean, that still does exist, is how this thing is going to sort of take off even beyond the early signing period and going into February, if Deion and the staff are able to make a little bit more hay then. I'm just really fascinated to see the early process of Deion in Colorado.
Around here, you're going to compete against Colorado for portal guys or for high school guys. Oh, it's just what's your selling point? Are you selling? And we're seeing the transition for Nebraska is they're selling the school. Are you selling commit to the school or prospects like it appears that Malachi doesn't? He commits to an individual.
Mm-hmm.
He committed to the University of Mickey. If he's going to Colorado, he's committing to Deion U.
Right.
And that's the situation with Colorado. And maybe it doesn't make, when you're 1-11, who cares? Do you want kids that are committing to CU or kids that are committing to Deion U? Because I imagine the rest of this recruiting class, which they didn't honor any of the past commitments, is all going to be, I'm committing to Deion U.
Yeah, 100%.
And then there's going to be real football that is played against Power 5 teams, and we're going to see if this works.
And how long, and not saying it doesn't work and Deion's gone, but how long will Deion be in Boulder?
I actually think he'll be there a little bit longer than people. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong on a lot of stuff. I know, hey, Nebraska will see him next fall, and then Nebraska fans will see him in Lincoln in 24, and then you won't see him again. I could see him at least 3 years. That's what I'm saying.
If you're a freshman, would you see him all 4 years you're there?
I feel confident we'll see him in Lincoln.
Oh,
he'll still be there.
If he bolts after 1 year. No, people are speculating because he's looked at his buyout. Would a Mississippi State come after him? No, I don't think so.
I don't think they would.
But I don't think Deion U would leave Boulder. I think he would keep Deion U in Boulder and not go to Mississippi State. But I think he will be there longer than 2 years. That's just I believe that he will be there unless it's an unbelievable offer and the next step is the NFL, which I think would be next, but that's still down the road. So that's this weekend. Nebraska is setting up for a busy weekend. Don't forget we have Mike Schaefer at the end of the week. We will dive into stuff with him. Now, something else that happened to the Big Ten yesterday that I think I'm excited for a guy. And it's the great unknown of a hire. Every hire comes with a risk, whether it be Urban Meyer, Matt Rule, Luke Fickell, or Ryan Walters, who's 36 years old. And Purdue did something yesterday. They basically went the opposite of what they've done for 40 years in West Lafayette. They hired a defensive guy. They hired a defensive guy that's 36 years old. And you could make the case that a guy that was courted by his alma mater at Colorado actually has a better job than Colorado right now. The assistant pool money at Purdue is greater than Colorado, by the way. So they hire Ryan Walters off Brett Bielema's staff. He was the defensive coordinator, led the nation in scoring defense. He's only 36 years old. This could be a boom for Purdue because it's not just Illinois. He was also successful at Mizzou.
Yep.
I judge when assistant coaches leave from one job to another. I don't put 100% stock in it, but I kind of watch from afar of how a fan base reacts. Like I tweeted out, I got a lot of pushback. Marcus Satterfield. People at USC were gots to go.
Yeah.
Outside of those last two games.
Go take them.
Okay, when they put up big numbers against Tennessee and Clemson. When Tony White left Syracuse, if you scoured the internet or listened to any talk radio in Syracuse like I did, they were really disappointed to lose him. Okay, all right, what is Nebraska getting? Illinois people yesterday, and they knew it was coming because he's 36 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's an up-and-comer. They lost their defensive coordinator, and they were very, very disappointed. Now, the next step at Illinois, Brett Bielema, is you get credit for putting together a staff. You get extra credit for when that staff member is poached or goes and gets another job. What you do to replace him says a lot about you as a head coach, because we've seen so many cases across college football, Nick and Jimmy, of coaches that had great staffs. Hayden Fry was this way at Iowa. Hayden Fry had an incredible staff at Iowa, and they were loyal and they were there for a long time. And then they were really good that they all started to get other jobs. Barry Alvarez, Bill Snyder, he had Hugh Jackson. I think it was Hugh Jackson, went to the NFL as a running back coach. And he wasn't able to replace that experience and that talent. And that's when you saw a dip towards the tail end of Hayden Fry. Brett Bielema's now got a chance here because he made a great hire with Ryan Walters, get him from Mizzou, because he knew the area and he was good and he was young and he kind of knew that one day he's not going to be here. Now who do you replace at defensive coordinator? But look at the Ryan Walters hire at Purdue. And it could be a boom, but it's the great unknown because he's never coached before.
Right.
And people go, well, why not Jim Leonard? Well, and I like Ryan Walters better than Jim Leonard, says Purdue. Outside of the box thinking by the AD. Guy who's never been a head coach of the Power Five. We're going to give him this opportunity because he's in our league and he's known for defense and we like where he's going because he's done it at 2 stops. He did it at Mizzou, did it at Illinois. But look at the 3 new coaches that have been hired in the West. And I always say, how many other people that are not hiring coaches this year are looking in the mirror?
Yeah.
Northwestern's got a situation where they're turning over their staff and they don't have any NIL. You've got Iowa that I think Cade McNamara will settle that position down, but it all comes down to Iowa's future in 23 is what do they do with the offensive line? That was a bad offensive line. That was not an offensive line that Iowa usually has. But so Iowa, even with who's calling the plays, I think the quarterback that they got made a wise decision. Short fields, I'm going to benefit from special teams defense. Hey, I might not be the greatest quarterback, but I'm going to look better in this offense.
Yeah, definitely.
Whoever's calling the plays.
Yeah, that's the big question.
So the teams in this, PJ Fleck gets a new deal. They're all of a sudden very active in the portal from his old school, Western Michigan. But think about the 3 hires at head coach. Wisconsin, upgraded?
Well, yeah, big time.
Not a hesitation.
Big time.
Not a hesitation.
Yeah.
Luke Fickle's an upgrade. Nebraska, not a hesitation. Matt Rule's an upgrade.
Yeah.
The unknown, though, is Jeff Brom just went to the Big Ten championship game. But are you excited about the guy you just hired?
I would be.
I'm
I think he's a
extremely
stud.
hired by Ryan Walters. If you see his introductory meeting with his team, compared to Deion U, it's completely different. And he gives Maccabee a scholarship.
Maccabee! Crazy legs. No, I love that for Purdue. I'm curious where Purdue fans are, though. More closer to the ins and outs of this program. Because as you mentioned, they went completely off of script from what they've done for so long. And really the Jeff Brom tenure and having that offense. I mean, that was the one thing that it was the only thing that was going to keep them close in that Michigan game is the fact that they did have an offense. And so now you're going the complete opposite road, even of previous coaches before Jeff Brom. I think it's great. I'm curious if Purdue fans are unwilling to accept change.
Is there a difference between a hire at Wisconsin and Nebraska where it's more about the coach, and in a place like West Lafayette, it's more about the recruiting and the staff? Because essentially for Ryan Walters moving forward to have success at Purdue, when you move into the evolving Big Ten that changes in 24, more important in West Lafayette on your recruiting and your staff than Wisconsin and Nebraska, where the head coach is ahead of recruiting and staff.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's the case in West Lafayette.
Don't have to worry
So
about the
he's all
divisions.
judged about recruiting and staff, what he can put together as a staff, what he can do recruiting to Purdue. Because Jeff Brom recruited NFL dudes to Purdue.
Yeah.
I think this is when we get through the hiring cycle, Ryan Walters is going to be in my top 5 of coaches that have been hired.
It's kind of sneaking in there.
And he made a smart play. And now the Purdue job opened up well after the Colorado job, of course, and just came open. But he made a better decision to go to Purdue than pursuing the Colorado job when he was courted.
Think about the conference you're in.
Same
too.
colors there. It's a nice compromise for him.
Yeah, I think it's a good hire. I would be curious to talk to, old Joey out in West Lafayette and say, your thoughts, especially longtime Purdue fans, because I could see some resistance there. I understand that. I think it's going to be a good hire, but I could understand the resistance.
Hey, the West Division for one last ride.
Oh.
West Division has got all kinds of storylines in it.
That coach, just the group of coaches between Fickle and Rule, and then now Walters, just going from DC, stay in that division, and when they have to face off with Illinois. Mm-hmm.
Next fall, you will be saying on this show what a difference a year makes.
And then we'll be into USC, UCLA, and we'll be pods.
It's
we'll be
all in the
podding.
pod.
Yes.
Unless everything goes
most Western
horribly
teams.
wrong out there today.
All right. That's later this afternoon. Unlikely that the UC Board of Regents would block UCLA from coming to the Big Ten, but you never know. Strange things happen in California.
I want to see all kinds of chaos, though. Make it really hard to push it through. As long as those awkward moments don't involve us, I want to hear all about it. So make that public, please.
Talk tomorrow at 6. Crossover's coming next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this